reading out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnop.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
There we go. Cool. I don't know what this is, but it's legal from a YouTube standpoint, so we're playing generic music. Good morning. How are you? It's Tuesday here on the program. We got a lot going on today. A lot of good peeps joining us. Yeah, there we go. I'm not sure if that's a kind of a mix of a guy with a juice harp, what that might be. Coming up today at 6:30, Jermaine Ferrell, Marva around 6:45, 6:50, Marva in Miami. Of course, we have to talk about Carolina football as much as she doesn't want to. Brian Siegler from the Boundary Corner podcast. David Smith with our NFL Roundup. Jaguars beat the Chiefs last night. Trevor Lawrence may actually start being that guy. And then Mike Burnop. His appearance brought to you by Louise Baker. Joins us coming up. And that will be at 8 o'clock. Do I have a glow stick? No, I do not. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, chat. McClellan Chiropractic chat room. Hit us up on the BDST text line, 540-391-0788. My goodness, people were hitting me up on the professional door text line all day. Very frustrated. Frustrated because Whit Babcock apparently is going to stay. Nobody understands it. I don't understand it. But it is what it is, and we shall see how it all goes, as they say. Good morning, Stephen. Yes, it's Tuesday. Good morning, Prometheus. Paul and Morris from the winding roads of Route 8, and they are quite winding. To the mountaintop of Angels Rest, now to the sandy beaches of Palm Coast. BDST is on the air. Morning, Morris. That's great. Although, I got to be honest, I mean, as much as I love where I live, I wouldn't mind being down on the sandy beaches of the Palm Coast right now. Be nice to have just a few months. Hey, where are you hanging out? I'm down at the beach. Where are you going tomorrow? The beach. What are you doing the rest of the week? Just going to hang on the beach. Not bad. Not a bad gig if you can get it, Morris. Congratulations. We got a lot of great guests today, which is great for you because it's less time for me to talk. But it's interesting, people's reaction. And I would tell you, if I had one positive reaction from anybody about the whole Whit Babcock announcement, that he's apparently going to stay. And how this looks going forward will be very interesting. It's told by a couple sources October 9th was going to be his last day, but, you know, that's not going to happen. It doesn't look like, according to the two releases that were, put out last Friday. So people are asking me, and I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. My guess is personal relationships, it just creates what I would perceive at some point to be a difficult dynamic. Although, you know, Chris Coleman mentioned that there's nobody else over there right now to kind of fill in and run things if they were to not have Whit over there. So maybe that plays a huge part in it. But then again, to his point as well, it goes into the lack of ability to pick a coherent staff, you know, underneath that. Like, should the committee be in charge of both? Should the committee have more say, you know, with the president about a new AD? But, you know, apparently it's not going to be necessary. I see a big loss in donations, Garrett says, with Whit staying. I believe that is correct. I believe people are going to express their displeasure by not giving, but they're not going to reach. I don't believe they're going to come anywhere close to this goal that they had hoped to reach by, you know, putting their hand out to donors. I really don't. The customer has to matter. You know, the customer has to be a consideration, and you're the customers. And that never seems to be a consideration at any point when any of these decisions are made. The decisions are made because the lack of success is limiting potential dollar earnings. So it's all about money. So, I mean, it's one of those deals where you just have to grit your teeth and go forward and see what it looks like. They came around about the whole GM situation, which makes total sense. They were insistent. You know, Bruce Arians went on the McAfee show and said, we're going to hire a GM. And you're just like, well, that's backwards. And then they finally reversed that. So they're doing that part right. Because the GM is not structured like it is. Something we talked about yesterday with Phil Masian too. You know, the GM in the NFL is the boss of the coach, basically. It's not the way it's going to be collegiately in most places. Now, it is at Stanford. Andrew Luck is there, and he's going to hire the next coach, and he's going to directly answer to Andrew Luck. Here you go. Prometheus says he's donated for 20 years, and this will be the last year. And I think they're going to get a lot of that. But I want people to understand this isn't an attack on Whit Babcock. I don't even know the man. And he's done some good things with other sports. But see, the other sports don't make any money. Men's basketball is the other sports that's profitable. That's the way it is, not just only at Tech, but in most places along with football. He had to get football right to have a legacy that people are going to say, wow, you know, I'm glad he was here. And he failed. He made a lot of money over the years to fail at hiring a good football coach to keep Virginia Tech football in the top 20 in the country and to follow the momentum of Frank Beamer. And instead, under his guidance, the program has hit its lowest point since before, you know, Coach Beamer got there. And those are facts. That's not speculation. That's not opinion. That's a damn fact. Personal responsibility and accountability is something that just for some reason now today is just in this country is just not something that you want to talk about. Good morning, Rodney. And when you're making 7 figures and your job is to get football right and you went 0 for 2, you had 2 chances. And now you're rewarded by keeping all that money and keeping your position. I don't understand it either. I'm like you. I don't understand. I would like to find somebody to give an explanation. I guess President Sands is the only one that could do it. Chris, I think yesterday came the closest that maybe the realization is that there's nobody over there that could keep things running. And I'm not using this as like, now I understand. I still don't understand. Do you think Georgia Tech had anybody that they felt like could run the athletic department when they fired both their head coach, Jeff Collins, and the AD the same day, the same press conference a few years ago? right? They didn't have anybody to run the department. They just said, you know what, we're all going to pinch in. We're going to get through this, and we're going to get our people. And they have. And I know I keep going back to Georgia Tech, but why not? They're right here in the conference. You don't have to look very far. All the ADs know each other. All the presidents know each other. They interact at meetings every month. I mean, they have conversations at media day. They talk all the time. It's not like you're digging up some kind of, big plan from another school you're not aware of. Georgia Tech's right there in the ACC. They weren't afraid. And I'm not saying the success they're having is going to last. I mean, they're 5-0. They play Tech this weekend. Coming off a bye week, they didn't look good in their last game against Wake. Maybe they're not going to be that team. And even if they're not, it doesn't change the fact that they did it the right way because they were unafraid. Their nations are now in the top third of the league. People are supporting because they respected the way they went about it and took their customers' interest at heart. Jeff Collins was an absolute joke as a head coach. It was all about him. Fans, donors made their voices heard. And the president down there listened to those people. Guess what? Your customers. And now everybody's living in bliss, donating, happy. They've got new facilities coming up. They got all these improvements. Everything's happening in Georgia Tech because they made one, at the time, very difficult but very bold statement. This is unacceptable. We're cleaning house. We've got to rebuild it. We're just treading water here. We're in Atlanta. We're in this massive metropolitan place. There's no reason why Georgia Tech football should be where it is at. And here they are rising out of the ashes. Started last year, their trajectory, and it's continuing. Prometheus says could set the football program back 15 years if not held responsible. The critical error by Virginia Tech during a pivotal moment, Athletic, Big Al says. Morris says, I've been Hokie Club, a UT Prosism member for over 30 years. Feel the same. Let's go to Missouri. Show me before I can give again. So it is what it is. I hope the committee ends up being something that doesn't become a circus. I hope people don't try to get their feelings hurt. Let the football people on the committee kind of help the people who don't know anything about hiring a coach. Let them kind of influence. Because this has to be done correctly. But early on, I'm not encouraged that they understand how to do this correctly. They did correct one oversight with the coach before the GM, which had to happen. But the other thing just seems odd. And so people who ask me, I don't know the answers. The only thing I can think of is it's probably a lot of what Chris said yesterday. And it's probably a lot of personal relationships. So we'll see. And it might all work out. You just don't know. So far, it's worked out for Georgia Tech. Feels like the Georgia Tech model, whether they're, every year in contention in the ACC or not, it feels like their model, though, is going to continue to build momentum. But they're going to have to keep Brent Key, and that's not going to be easy. Now, he loves it there, obviously. He's a Georgia Tech guy. But we'll see how they handle success now, because I think they're going to have a really good season. I don't know if they're going to be able to compete with Miami long-term this year. Miami looks like a different animal to me. Do they come off their bye week this week against Virginia Tech? They're favored by over 2 touchdowns. Do they handle their business? I mean, if you look at their schedule, After Virginia Tech, they have to go to Duke, and that'll be a great test. If they win this weekend, Duke is really good. You got to give Manny Diaz a lot of credit. I've watched – Duke is good. Duke is good. Syracuse, they should beat. They go to North Carolina State. They should win that. BC, they should beat. Pitt's always a tough game for them, and then they finish with Georgia. So we'll see about the Ramblin' Wreck going forward, but let's just be honest. I'm sorry, Hokies fans, but they obviously should beat Virginia Tech if they are a team that's on the proper ascension. They should beat them. They may not, but they should. And it may not work out that way. But they should. They should. So anyway, Jermaine Ferrell will join us here in about 15 minutes, and we'll wrap up some things with high school football. He has to join us early. I think ACC basketball media days are here. I think Tech's going to be picked pretty favorably. I'm still, I know I have to get in basketball mode because the first games are less than a month away. They're still not in basketball mode. Takes a little while to slide into basketball mode, especially now, so much kind of converging at once. But any event, we'll see. We'll see. But that's how I'm answering everybody in chat. I bet I had 24 messages yesterday throughout the end of the show through, 3 or 4 o'clock from different people expressing the same frustration. I want to thank all of our sponsors. Family Fencing. Go see Jason Green and the gang. Get a free quote, 540-200-8294 at familyfencingnrv.com. They have finance options available. Doesn't matter the kind of fencing you want. Commercial, residential, agricultural. Give me a yell. Go see Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic, sponsor of our chat room. Mark does a great job popping in, getting you all good again. Travis Williams, Professional Door Incorporated. Garage doors better than anybody. Such a good company. They were hired by Walmart nationally to take care of their doors. That's pretty good. Right across from New River Community College. Up on Route 100, 38 years in business. Larry Ramsey, National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner, BDST. The attorney Ryan Pry down in Radford, 701 West Main Street, sponsoring our BDST fan question of the week. And I still don't have one. I'll try to have one before the end of the show. Ryan, I need one. I haven't heard from Ryan. I think he's mad because the Eagles lost to my Broncos. Little River Heating and Air, Charles Lee, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. Give them a call. Let them take care of all of your heating and air needs. And, of course, Pulaski County Sports Entertainment, the presenting sponsor of this program. They got some more stuff coming up, a brand new newsletter coming out. And how great was the conversation with Jonathan Sweet last week. And then later on today, Louise Baker will be bringing you Mike Burnop, the Louise Baker team along with Foster Realtors, 540-320-0382. Awesome people. And then 2 new sponsors who jumped on this week. NRB Super Bowl. They've been over there for 25 years. Hard to believe. They have their Halloween traditions continuing. And the bowl of the week is Todd Jones. Pretty cool. Todd Bowl, $300 to $299. I like bowling, but I'm not very good at it because I can never do the spin. I never learned how to do that. Maybe we can get Ronnie Horton over there, teach me how to bowl with that spin. My ball is usually just this heavy straight ball. And Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, they've been the place to go for manufactured home parts, such as windows, doors, and plumbing supplies, plus installation, located 300 North Franklin Street. Give James Lawson a call, 540-381-8011. Taking care of our business here before we start jumping into our guests in about 10 minutes. Yeah. Didn't watch much of the game last night. They come on so late. It's hard. It's hard to stay up and watch. You try and you can't. The last thing I saw of that game was the Chiefs clearly had a pick play on their first touchdown. They threw a flag, and Patrick Mahomes complained, and then they picked the flag up. You can't make it up. That happened. So then I went, oh, here we go. Click. Let's just turn it off. And fortunately, Trevor Lawrence was good when he had to be good last night. Always, too, go please subscribe, like, and share our channel content. We keep getting subscribers daily. Need a big push. On our way, hopefully, to 1,000. Remember, if one of you that are subscribed gets somebody else you know to subscribe, we'll be at 1,000 just like that. Tell them it's free. And the only bother you get is a little 5-second, because I get it when I go live. You know, hey, Big Dog Sport Talk is going live in case you want to watch. That's all. That's it. Nobody bothers you the rest of the time. We got to 500. It unleashed some things there, too. If people ever want to contribute $1 or $2. It's not inexpensive to run a YouTube show. I'll tell you that. But that's okay. That's why the help of the fine sponsors that we have been invaluable here on the program. But hit us up in the chat room. Prometheus says, why not have everybody on the committee be football people? This is kind of weird. Yeah, I think obviously when you're putting together a committee like that, they got tied in, Virginia Tech, all universities are very political places. And I'm sure that they had to kowtow to certain groups, certain people on campus. I agree. And those people, I don't know if they have no idea about what it takes to hire a football coach. And they don't. Just turn it over to Bruce Arians and Bud and Eddie Royal, guys like that on the committee. Let them, because they understand what it takes. But those things they are what they are. And you see, you have to take this step. And this goes back to the whole confusion about why, you leave Witt there. You have to bring on a committee. You have to go through this whole step because you can't trust your AD that you're insistent upon staying there to have anything to do with the hire. Because we told you all along back when we were just on the radio show that he would not be in charge of the third head coaching hire. And Tech's making sure that he's not, but hey, we're just going to leave him over here. It doesn't make sense. But so now you have this committee. You don't know how it's going to go. We haven't been given how often are they going to meet. Are they already vetting coaches? As Chris Coleman said yesterday, it has everything to do with the agents just putting names out there. And I'm sure coaches are telling their agents, yeah, go find out what's going on over there. I might be interested. And they might be in a good situation, and they might feel like they're going to coach themselves to that. And they might be in a bad situation, and they might feel like, oh, but then again, how excited are you going to be about, a bad situation? Text message, if Witt is staying and he can't hire a football coach, that's the equivalent of Barney Fife having to keep his bullets in his pocket. Yeah. On the professional door text line. Yeah. Yeah, kind of is. I don't know if it's, like I said, the only thing that makes sense to me is personal relationships, because you just hurt feelings. What about the feelings of the fans? What about the feelings of the donors? Again, it comes down to the customer. I'm always amazed at how customers are treated with such little value, not just in this case, but everywhere. Fans of sports are the last consideration 99% of the time by all the sports leagues. By all of them. By universities, by college football programs. But we go back, they know they have us hooked. I mean, there's nothing to like about the people who run the NFL, you know, but they're about to become pretty soon in the next 5 years. It's going to be a business that's going to net $1 trillion. So, and they've done that by not caring anything about what the fans have thought about the decisions that they've made as the years go on. So, this seems to be kind of a similar case over there, because if I'm hearing from so many people here on this show that's in week 8, if I'm hearing so much, you can't believe how much mail and email and messaging and everything else, text hearing about all this. And, you know, I agree with that too, Prometheus. There aren't enough questions about why this is staying in place, how this is going to work. That's true. That's true. You'd like to see somebody just kind of, hey, I got a question. That doesn't happen. Yeah, you're right. You're right. All right. Busy show today. Marvin, Miami coming up here in about 15 minutes. We've got Brian Siegler, David Smith, and Mike Burnop. And kicking it all off, that gentleman. He is, of course, the director at WFXR. James Ferrell, appreciate him coming on early. I know you got basketball media day coming up, man. You're going to be a traveling man here.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's an interesting time down here in Charlotte for the ACC tip-off. Yesterday, we got a chance to hear from Virginia Tech and Virginia women's basketball teams, and there's a lot of optimism when you look at both teams. Second-year Megan Duffy, she's getting things rocking and rolling, and we got some good transfers, good mixture of players coming back. Yesterday, we had Carly Wenzel, who it seems like she's been there forever with the program.
It does.
But she's a redshirt junior, so she's been there. So it'll be a 4th year with the program. And then you got Carrie Baker. You know the bloodline of that family, Vin Baker, and her mom played basketball too. So, and then Coach Duffy, I tell you, there's a lot of optimism. And again, the ACC's tough. And then you look at Virginia, obviously with Coach Mox. And then Virginia might have one of the best backcourts with Paris Clark and Kimora Johnson. I mean, when you're on the same category as a Dawn Staley, the only other player in Virginia history last year to get a triple-double. She messed around and got a triple-double, Rick, last year. So Virginia, both these teams, their expectation is to make the NCAA tournament. I think they can. Virginia Tech was so close last year, but they made a few mistakes at the end of a few games, lost a few games they probably had in the bag. Those games go a different way. Virginia Tech is dancing. And then I think the same with Virginia. They finished strong at the end of the year, winning 5 of 7. So a lot of optimism for the Cavaliers and the Hokies on the women's side. Today, this afternoon, we get to hear from Virginia Tech and Coach Mike Young and the crew, Toby Lawal, one of the guys being there. So we get to hear from the Hokies. And then on Wednesday, it'll be the Virginia Cavaliers. So 18 teams, Rick, men and women, jammed into 3 days.
Wow. That's a lot. That is a lot. Are they doing 6 teams each day, or how are they doing that? How's it working?
For the women, they're doing they did like all right, so they do 12 women in the morning session. Afternoon session is 12 women. And then this morning it's 12 women's teams. And then in the afternoon they do 6 men's teams.
Okay.
And then tomorrow it's 12 of everything. So it's a lot. And then, of course, locally, the only connection you really have is Sean Poppy, the Clemson coach who was an assistant at Virginia Tech.
That's right.
And then we also get to hear from the commissioner. And what was kind of interesting, Rick, yesterday afternoon, so we're all working in the media room. We hear this voice because how they have it set up, the media room is next to the press conference room where everybody's in there.
Right.
And I'm hearing this voice, and it's Jim Phillips, and he was practicing his address that he's going to give today, which I thought was kind of interesting. I see him over there, and he did a few run-throughs, it was pretty neat to kind of see the behind the scenes of what he's talking about, kind of like the state of Virginia, the state of the ACC when it comes to basketball. And new for the men this year, they went to an 18-game schedule. Remember last year was 20. so they've shot it down to 18. And for the women, women and men, they each have a travel, or actually they have a rival where they play twice. So obviously for Virginia Tech, they have home and home with the men's and women there. But then they'll play everybody one time, which is it's kind of interesting how they've done that scheduling.
Yeah, it is. I like it, though. At least they're trying to make something work. Jermaine Ferrell's down at Charlotte for the ACC Basketball Media Days.
Coke Zero, by the way. Coke Zero.
Yeah, you got to. I'd say I'm the same way. I'm not a coffee guy, man. So, see, here you go.
Let
Cheers.
everybody know
Cheers.
What's in the cup is Coke Zero. I know people say, oh, it's 30, and there you go. But
yeah,
no,
you get a little bit of a toddy there in the morning. But it's good stuff, man. It's good as we roll on here. And, looking at the football weekend, I mean, Virginia Tech comes back home. They get a big win against NC State, and here comes Wake Forest, and they can't follow it up, man. It just everybody was so like, okay, go, and then all of a sudden,
well, you can't make mistakes they made. I mean,
oh my goodness,
penalties. And again, we talk about what they're doing all year, the penalties, and you can't have penalties in their opportune time. And then when you get down, I mean, basically the second half was pretty much field goals for Virginia Tech. I mean, they were an opportunity. Virginia Tech had a chance to win that game too, but again, it's a fine line. I mean, we hear it from coaches, but it's true. When you have opportunities, these plays, if you make penalties and you commit turnovers and do all these things, it messes up your opportunities to win a football game, and that's what happened with Virginia Tech. So we'll see how it goes. I will say this: the biggest question everybody comes up to me and asks down here, what's Virginia Tech going to do for their coach? And I was like, hey, there's a committee. I'll just leave it at that. There's a committee.
Right.
And I mean, even like ACC people are coming up to me. Like people I know in the ACC circles, they're asking me and media members. And I said, I have no idea. I told them this. I said, hey, we'll find out sometime. If timelines have served us correct over the last two coaching hires, we'll probably hear something in December, if I had to guess. I mean, I'm not sure. This is not intel.
Yeah.
It's going over previous history because we found out, about Justin Fuente basically after the UVA Virginia Tech game, and that pushed it into December. Then the same, obviously, with Coach Pride, we found out about that at the end of the season. So I expect we'll probably hear something in December. It could be sooner. You never know, but we're going from previous history. That's what we'll see. But circling back to Saturday, Virginia Tech, tough loss. I mean, there was a lot of excitement and enthusiasm, but again, a one-score game, and it's just a tough thing because they had opportunities to win that game. And we'll see how it goes going down to Georgia Tech, which will be a game that it's going to be a tough one. The way Georgia Tech's been playing, they're coming off a bye week. So technically speaking, it'll be an interesting game.
Now, the good news in the Commonwealth, the Virginia Cavaliers, They are just good. We don't have to quantify it anymore. Tony Elliott in his make-or-break year, and the Cavaliers go on the road. They've now won back-to-back overtime games, and it was their defense that made big plays. They didn't put up a lot of big offensive numbers. We've been talking about how good their offense is. It's been covering up for their defense, but they are slowly starting to get better on that side of the ball. A lot of momentum down in Charlottesville right now.
You know what's interesting, Rick, too, is the fact that you hear Coach Elliott. He says, hey, we haven't played our best game yet. And that's the thing.
He's right.
There's things about, like, when you win, it's easier to teach and show people things. Okay, we won the game, but these are the things we have to do. We can't put ourselves in these situations. And in that overtime, I mean, Chandler Morris, I mean, you talk about a tough kid. I mean, the way he ran over there, took a hit.
Yeah.
And they didn't look too good. I'm saying to myself, oh, man, I don't know about this. But they were so close to the goal line, I mean, right around the one. So the play they called to get the win. But it's really impressive. And the good thing is, I mean, good or bad, I mean, if you're Virginia, maybe the bye week has come at a good time because now you're at 5-1, half your season's over. So, and sometimes people say with momentum, do you want to keep playing? But I think a bye week right now and the close wins they have might not be a bad thing for Virginia.
I agree.
They can catch their breath and they can recalibrate, and then they'll have a game coming up against Washington State, which will be next Saturday night on the 18th. So they'll have that coming. But yeah, it's happy days are in Charlottesville. And now, I mean, they're leading the ACC, and who's to say they can't make it to the ACC championship game because, they're in a bunch of other undefeated teams. And, they'll still be undefeated in the ACC over the next couple of weeks. So they'll still be in the lead for the most part.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be an interesting race. It really is. Miami's obviously, that team's good. We waited. You always want to wait on Miami, right? Because you never know. They've been hyped so many times, but they're good. Miami's really good, and they're the best team in the conference right now.
And even though I was watching some of that Florida State game, I mean, the score, the game wasn't as close as the score looked because Florida State got some, to use a Dick Enberg term, some cosmetic scores. I love Dick Enberg. He used to say that all the time.
I know.
And when as a kid, it's like, cosmetics, what does that mean? He said, to make it prettier, make it look better than what it really is.
Right.
That's what he meant. I remember he mentioned that because someone asked him that. I remember that it was I guess some college kids asked me, I said, when you say cosmetic score, what does that mean? He said it's supposed to make the game look closer to what it is, make something look better. So he was referencing makeup, and I wasn't going down that rabbit hole with him. But that's what he meant. And to a point, that's what that was. But, it's a rivalry game, but you can't – they were down, I think, 28-3 at one point, and they got it closer. And sometimes they'll say, hey, I just ran out of time. No, you start off poorly. And I will say this. I watched the version on the ACC network where they had the field pass, where they had Eddie Royal, they had Eric McLean, Jimbo Fisher, and Taylor Tannenbaum. That is a neat thing. They're on the sideline and they're basically watching the game field level and commentating on the game. And I thought that was a pretty cool. I didn't watch the other version with Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Fowler, but I just said, well, let me give this field pass thing a try. And it was pretty good. Guys were coming up to him. They had players come up to him. Michael Irvin was supposed to save Holly Rowe on the sideline. She nearly got taken out, and that was interesting. They didn't save it, but yeah, it was a good game, and we'll see how it goes the rest of the way. But yeah, if Virginia can keep rocking and rolling, because Virginia and Miami don't play each other, so there's a possibility they could meet up in the ACC. And I think also Virginia, they don't play Georgia Tech either. So I think. Right. Their path to getting to the ACC championship is pretty good. I don't know this. I can't remember their schedule off the top of my head, but I know they don't play Miami, and I know they don't play Georgia Tech. Obviously, they got North Carolina. I don't know if they have Clemson. I just can't remember their schedule off the top of my head, but it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
The Duke game on the road will be interesting. Duke's really good too right now. Duke's playing really, really well. Watching them play. What time do things get going down there this morning?
They get going at 8 o'clock. So they go in. The commissioners will speak in between the women's session and the men's session. So about 12:30, we'll hear from the commish, which I've already heard what he said. But it'll be interesting. Like I said, it's interesting. When you look at 18 teams. That's the largest conference. 18. Logistically, I'll give it up to the ACC for getting it all in. I remember when it was 15 teams, they spread it out over 3 days because they did there was a time where they would do the women a separate week and the men a separate week. But I'm glad they put them all on the same week. But to 15 teams, they spread that out over 4 days. So that was interesting to work with. And conferences nowadays are just so big in these media days. And the thing is, these athletes and these coaches, they go through so much because we interview them. They're down radio. You know what conference Radio Row, and then they go up to the networks they're on the set with the ACC network, and then they do pictures and photo shoots for the little vignettes you see on the network games that's where they shoot the players right there. So if you see a unique shot of a player, that's where they got it, whether it's the CW or the ACC network. And then they do podcast and they do all these other things. So it's a full day for these athletes and coaches. especially if you're the early morning. But actually, I take that back, Rick. today, which kind of is a tough. I think Cal is out the gate at 8 a.m. So their body is set for 5 a.m.
Yeah, that's right.
They're the first one out of the gate at 11. I'm saying to myself, couldn't y'all hook them up with an afternoon session?
Right, let them have the last session today.
Yeah, but 8 a.m. That's 5 a.m. for them out west.
Cal Stanford had to make all the trip just for me.
Yeah, and Cal, like I say, I take that back. With Cal, I think they're first at 8 a.m.
Unbelievable.
Like,
maybe they want to get it done and get back. Maybe they've got a flight to catch back to the coast or something.
It could be the case at 5 a.m., Rick, and then you're sleeping on the plane. And yeah, I mean, you've been out to the West Coast. I mean, I was telling a story when I went out west. Me and my wife, we went to Las Vegas, and we were out there for 9 days, which, by the way, I recommend don't stay out in Vegas that long. We made a big mistake. But that was 5 years ago. We didn't know any better.
Exactly. I did the same thing.
Yeah, they say if you go to Vegas, go maybe 3-4 days tops.
4 days is the most max. Yes.
Because after the fourth, fifth day, I was really bored. I was ready to leave, but we were pot committed, as they say. No pun intended. But so it took a while for our bodies to adjust. So you're like, for instance, you it's 1 a.m. out there. Your body says it's 4. Or if it's 9 o'clock, it's really midnight. And, the older you get, hey, bedtime for me sometimes, if I'm not covering a sporting event, is around 9 or 10 o'clock.
Right.
But, yeah, it's something else, and they'll have fun with it. But, yeah, and then, like I said, it's just the travel. And those West Coast teams, they're doing more traveling to the East Coast than East Coast teams traveling to them. So that's another level. But, that's an argument for another day. So.
Well, Jermaine, thanks, man, for jumping on. I know you're busy. You got a lot going on today, man, and I can't wait to get the report about what's happening. We'll talk again later in the week when we wrap up high school football for the week and preview what week 7 coming up already.
Week 7, and it's a bit busy time. And you got a packed show. I mean,
we do.
So you got the Queen of Miami. You got
Queen of Miami's coming
Burnop, up. You got Mr. Smith goes. I mean. Am I missing somebody? Because you got
Brian Siegel is coming up at 7:10 from the Boundary Corner. They do a great job.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. But it's great to lead things off to set the table for because now the show gets even better. I mean, it kind of we start off with me, which is low, but then you got Miss Miami. I mean, you got the crew there. I mean, Boundary Corners, and you got Mr. Smith with the NFL, Mike Burnop. I mean, this is a big time show. So that's the reason why I moved to Mondays, because that way, I mean, that's too much competition. I'll let them do their thing. So
I just sit back and enjoy listening to all the people. It's just great. It's great.
Good stuff. You have a blessed day, sir. Thank you.
Hey, you have a good time, man, and you and I will talk here in a couple of days.
Yeah, we'll do it. Thank you.
All right, brother. Stay safe. There you go. Jermaine Ferrell joining us here on the program. Good stuff. Marvin Miami going to join us here momentarily as well. Hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. I'll be right back. I'm taking you behind the curtain. Balboa Creed is back from his hunt. I'll be right back. He's out there stalking around the outside like a lion, like I'm back. Hey, let me in. I'm ready. Came in today. He was out walking back from the back, and he had without too much detail, kind of had fur for another critter stuck in his, a little bit of dried blood. And you're like, okay, that's my guy right there. Now that could be a mascot. David in a McClellan Chiropractic chat room. Is Virginia Tech's defensive coordinator over his head? Non-existent adjustments. Can't get a stop off the field. Yeah, they've shown up twice. They showed up open the season against South Carolina, and then they showed up against the run NC State. And that's really the only 2 times their defense has shown up. I mean, they weren't horrible, but, Wake lost their running back Saturday, and they still were able to win. So, Marvin Miami going to join us here momentarily. So, yeah, uneven for Sam Cephas, to say the least. Marva says she did not get it. All right, hang on, Marva. I'm going to send it again here. She says she did not get the invite. And that could very well be the case. I could have sent it to the wrong person. Marva. All right, sending it again now, Marva. Sending it again. Just sent again. Let me tell her that. We had no secrets here. We just kind of let everybody in behind the scenes. There we go. Hopefully she'll receive that one. David, good morning. How are you in chat? They have held teams less than 3 yards per carry. Yeah. So I'm saying they're allowing big plays. They're allowing big moments. But then again, they turn the field around. But he hasn't been able to get stops in big moments when they needed it. But they did show up against NC State. I'm going to throw out Wofford. Don't use any statistical evidence in Wofford. They just allowed a quarterback to go 46 for 46. Marva says she's not getting it. I don't understand. She said try another one. Okay. Let's try another one here. Yeah, they are very young at safety. That's a great point, David. Trying to get Marva connected here. All right. Uh-oh, she's giving me a really long – I'm sure I'll get this right. All right, let me go back and read this here. All right. I think I got it right that time. Well, I think I had it right the first time. It might just be your email. If this one doesn't work, then I'm concerned that something's wrong with my invites. Shouldn't be, though. Try that one, Marva. Just sent again. Just sent to the new email. There you go. Anyway, hopefully she'll get that one. Yeah, lots of dumb penalties. And, you're playing a lot of youth, so guys are going to be a little overeager. But then again, not lots of penalties, just penalties at the wrong time, right? So Wake had like double the penalties. They had like 11 or 12. I think Tech had 6. It was the same thing early. They didn't have they're not having lots. They're just having stupid penalties that make no sense. Yes. The penalties are dumb. Yeah. All right. Now there she is. Hey, look at that.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
I don't know. I open up my email to get the little link I need to sign in and I don't see it. And I'm starting to freak out. And so that's your text. I just sent it. It's like, oh, okay. So I didn't miss it. But then I don't know what happened. It never went through. Someone doesn't want me here, Rick. I don't know who it is.
Not me. I need you here, Marva. So I need you here. All right. You ready to get into the North Carolina Clemson game?
Not really, but I guess we have to talk about it. It was very, very bad. Okay. Very bad. So before we get into all the specifics, let's just talk about, so I'm watching the game. And it's the second quarter is coming to a close. I mean, this is a few minutes left. And the announcer's like, people are already heading for the exits. I'm like, that's not fair. I'm sure they're just going to the concession stand, want to get an early jump on it. But no, they were right. People were
35-3 at halftime. Yeah.
People were just leaving. And I can confirm I had friends who were there. They had a Ludacris concert before the game and people said that was really fun, but then that was the highlight. And so a lot of my friends who went, they told me they left just before halftime because it was that bad and they just didn't want to see any more of it.
28-0 in the first quarter at one time.
It was bad because they scored four straight touchdowns. I know, Rick. I know all the bad stats. It was ugly. And for me, the things that really stood out were on the defensive side of the ball. Carolina just looked really slow. Like compared to Clemson, the players looked slow. They were just a step or two behind all the time. And also they didn't have good technique when it came to tackling. No. Like they were not wrapping people up. They also struggled with silly penalties. You were just talking about penalties. I mean, we know that penalties are a part of the game. There's no such thing as a perfect game usually, but silly stuff like that should have been cleared up at this point. So it was really bad. And I think people are just realizing, Carolina fans' expectations were too high. Like Belichick is not a miracle worker. There are some problems with the personnel. We talked about, 70 new players coming in, but were they the right players coming in? That's a good question. In many cases, maybe not. I was excited to see Carolina make a change. They said it was because Gio Lopez was hurt, but they brought Max Johnson in, and I do still think Max Johnson is the better quarterback.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah, he's moving the ball better. He gets the ball out quicker, all that stuff. But the problems on defense, I don't know how they are going to be solved, because I don't know, like, if a player is slow, moves slow, is not very fast athletically, I don't know what the coaches can do about that. I mean, if you're just being beat by players who are supposed to be similar in skills, I don't know what you can do there. I mean, maybe there's some tricks. I don't know, but I'm not feeling very good about it right now. I mean, I'm looking at these stats here. They're very bad. I don't even want to talk about them, but I'm looking at these right now. I mean, you mentioned the 35-3, yes, but in every category, Carolina was getting beat, and not by a little bit. It was bad. I didn't want to watch the whole thing. And I always, like, I stick it out. I'm like, well, you never know. Those people leaving, it could be like, remember many, many years ago in the finals, Miami looked, they were going to lose, and all these fans left, and they had this great comeback. That was during the LeBron days here for the Heat. Okay. I said, it could be a situation like that. They're going to regret they left. It's like, no, they're not.
Do you compare this to, you mentioned 70 players. I started thinking, remember when, and it's not going to work out for Dion. He's not going to win at Colorado. But, I mean, remember the first year he had like 70 players, and they struggled like this too, and that's when he had Travis Hunter and Shedeur. You think maybe that's a big part of it, just because of the major turnover? Do you think how much of this, it's early?
Well, they don't know each other. I mean, I know they've been practicing for a while, but there's a certain level of trust and, even camaraderie that comes from playing with the same guys all the time.
It's a lot of guys.
They don't have that. And I mean, I'm not criticizing anyone for them not having that. I don't know how you build that up quickly. It's just, I don't know, Rick. It's just really bad.
Do your people down there, how does Belichick relate? How's he related to the players?
Say that they think he's having some trouble, but I haven't heard like specific examples of the trouble. So I don't know if that's what's going on. But it's just, something is not working. And it may be that it wouldn't work for any coach because it's just a bad situation. So I'm not ready. Like some people are saying, oh, get rid of this guy. It was the biggest mistake ever bringing him in. I'm not at that point. I think let's see what happens like next season. But I've already started looking forward to next season, because I don't think there's not going to be many good things that happen this season. Okay. I don't think there are going to be many good things, but there may be some. Who knows? They may pull it together a little bit towards the end of the season. But right now, there's just I don't have a lot of hope right now, because it's just that bad.
At least they won't lose this week because it's bye week.
Right. They're not playing this week. So they can't lose. That's good.
So let's look at it. They go to California.
Maybe.
Could. Maybe. Yeah. Virginia.
Probably will be bad.
You go to Syracuse. It's in the
maybe.
dome.
I mean, Syracuse, I don't know what's going on with them. Downward spiral.
They got to be Stanford, right? At home?
Should.
Stanford's terrible.
Should be able to.
Wake.
I mean, now you're giving me hope, Rick. Like, maybe they can pull these wins off.
You're not going to beat Duke. Duke's good. And then NC State. I mean, there's nothing.
NC State, that's the thing about it. I understand the way NC State gets up to play.
I know.
That's like they have no shot at doing anything nationally. So for them, that is their big game, right? And so they are going to, that might be ugly. I hope not. Like, I don't want that to happen. But I have to be realistic, Rick. It may be very ugly.
They haven't looked great against any. They've lost every game against FBS foes by at least 25 points.
Yes.
So that's the thing. That's the problem.
That's what I mean. Players were supposed to have similar skill, right?
Yeah.
And It's not been good. And then you watch and see what these teams do afterwards. Like, I mean, UCF made Carolina look so awful. Like, oh, UCF, they're really great. And then they come and they have a big loss.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
So they look their best against Carolina.
Yeah, that doesn't make you feel good, right? So I don't know what to say, Rick. I wish I had something positive. You know me, I like to be positive.
Hey, basketball media day. We just talked to Jermaine. Basketball, yay!
Yeah, I'm excited about basketball. I really am. I think it's going to be. I have a kid that's calling me from another room. I'm going to just keep talking.
Okay.
But that is. Oh no. Okay, my son is telling me the cat has come into his room and is on the bed and he's upset.
He just wants to chill. He just wants to lay down.
Yeah. So it's like, don't freak out. But so look forward to basketball. But I mean, I always keep like a little bit of hope, right? Because things could turn around. Things could turn around. Who knows? That West Coast road trip could be just what Carolina needs to, get out of this funk and start winning. And then we're talking about, wow, how did they run the table? We thought they couldn't do it. They couldn't beat Virginia and Duke, and now look what they did. So I still, that's just part of who I am, Rick. I keep a little bit of that with me, right?
No, I get it.
I'm hopeful, but it's just so ugly. Like like I said, I kept watching because I knew it was going to come on here, but I really didn't want to.
I know. Well,
I wanted to turn it off.
The schedule it's not daunting. You don't play Miami. There's no FSU. I mean,
it was set up for success.
It was. Absolutely.
And now what is happening?
I know.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Everything good now with your little one and the kitty?
He seems to be okay now. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, he was freaking. I think because maybe she woke him up. Because I don't usually get him up till around 7 or maybe slightly after 7. And so I think she jumped up there and woke him up, and he's still protesting. I don't know if that's Mike is picking that up, but yes, he's still protesting. So
not good news for the Dolphins down there, huh?
No. But you know what? What's good news in
What's
NFL?
That?
Drake May. Okay, we haven't had a chance to talk about Drake.
Oh, we got to talk about what? Yeah, but did you see the thing yesterday?
May, I told my husband.
You and I have been all. I told him,
actually, when they played the Dolphins, I said, Drake May.
He's our guy.
This is his year. He is ascending. He looks great out there, and I'm just so excited about him. And I said he's putting Josh Allen on notice tonight. That's what I said last night. My husband was like, I was like, no, he is putting Josh Allen on notice. He is here. He's ready to go. And I'm just excited about him. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited about what Drake May is doing and what he is going to do, Rick.
Did you see the report from On3? Because Drake May's a Carolina grad, and the Patriot social media team wanted to put something out about Carolina, and Carolina wanted to put something out about Drake May, and Bill Belichick shot it down.
Yes, I heard that was something he said before the season even began. No post about the Patriots.
He did it again, though, over the weekend.
And the fact that Carolina agreed to that,
I don't understand.
Drake May playing for the Patriots makes no sense. And I'm so glad that has been rescinded now and Carolina can post about it because, I mean, this is exciting, right? This is exciting. And Mac Brown posted about it over the weekend on Twitter about how excited he was, and or was last night, I forget, whenever it was, he posted about him before Carolina's accounts would post. And usually when players are in the pros and they do something, no matter what it is, whether it's NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, they will post about it because, hey, this is our guy. He's doing something, right?
Right.
So that's ridiculous. I mean, I know Belichick has beef with the Patriots. I get that, but this is beyond that. I'm sorry, you have to get over that.
Absolutely.
School should be able to post about Drake.
It would help your recruiting. Any little thing to get in positive vibe going about football at Carolina, and he shot it down. That's
very petty. That's very petty, I think. And he's got to get over that. And I'm very upset the school agreed to it. And I'm glad that the school has come around and seeing just how ridiculous that is. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yes, no general things about the Patriots. I get that. But about Drake, all day, every day, right?
Every day. Yeah. And I think you're exactly right. He is Josh Allen. He's not there yet, but it's the same.
He is knocking on the door, Rick.
Same dude, I agree.
He's knocking on that door. And I mean, I was kind of joking about it last night with my husband, I'm like, Josh doesn't even want to come out because he knows what Drake's about to do to him.
Those horrible uniforms. God, no.
I know, but yeah, I mean, he looks so good. He looks comfortable. He's very poised. I'm just excited about him. He's good. He's doing big things.
He's got a good coach now. He did not have a good coach last year. He's got a good coach now, Mike Vrabel, who understands a young quarterback's perils and what he has to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
and
there's going to be some missteps, right? He's still learning. He's growing, but he just looks good. Like he's doing all the right things.
Yeah, he does. He does. And I'm glad because, you and I loved him at Carolina.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a good one. He's going to be a good one. There's no question. Yeah. Going to be a good one.
And I thought about you last night with Trevor Lawrence. Like he's
coming on.
Yeah, he's coming on.
Quarterback crush, starting to get it done.
See?
Did you see the way he was running? I saw the highlight reel this morning. He's running over. He in no way.
Doesn't care about his body.
He just tries to run through people. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
And that's good. While you can do that, do it, right?
Do it while you can do it. That's right. Yeah. That's right. He's another big guy. He's a lot like Josh Allen and Drake May.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, good stuff. Hey, enjoy the bye week. You can kind of chill. You can kind of chill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your hubby got a big win. The Cowboys.
Yeah.
Jets are just terrible.
I don't consider beating the Jets a big win, but they got to win.
Got to win. Hey, you win in the NFL, you got to win.
Yeah.
So, it's all that matters. It's all that matters.
And your Broncos are winning again, right?
Yeah, they beat the Eagles. How about that? Where'd that come from? Down 17-3 in the fourth quarter. What?
Did you even believe?
Weird. Huh? No, I had no belief whatsoever. No, as a matter of fact, I was just casually had it on, wasn't even watching it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, still 17-3. Oh, okay. Yeah. Now look up touchdown.
Play the game, Rick. Yes.
Yeah, I know. But how many quarters is the game, Marv? Is it one quarter?
Nope.
It's not 2 quarters either, is it?
Nope.
It's not 3 quarters. How many quarters?
Nope. 4 quarters.
4 quarters.
Yes.
What's the temperature, by the way? Miami temperature check. Let me see.
Oh, gosh, I haven't even looked. I know I feel a little warm here in the house. I mean, I know we've got the AC on, but I still feel it's 77 right now.
58 here,
A little cooler there. But yeah, 77 going up to 85 today.
A little cooler there, she says.
Yeah.
Oh, a little cooler there.
And I am wearing shorts because it's Miami. It's hot.
Temperature today about 90?
No, 85.
85?
Reasonable.
Oh, okay. Reasonable. All right. Well, have fun. Enjoy your week.
Thank you, you too.
As always, thank you for your time. Wouldn't be the same program without you, Mark.
Oh, thanks, Rick. You have a good one.
Sure. All right. Go Heels.
Bye.
All right.
Go Heels.
Marva in Miami joining us on the program. She got a bye week this week. So if you didn't hear what we're talking about, North Carolina wanted to post something about Drake May and have him picture of him up celebrating in his Patriot. He plays for the Patriots, and Bill Belichick immediately shot it down yesterday or Sunday night. It's because he has a beef with the Patriots. I guess he'd been okay if it had been anybody else, but that's weird. Coaches that are controlling social media, I don't understand. You've got enough going on. It happens a lot more than you think. They have people on their staffs that are doing all that stuff and taking it away from. You would think you have bigger fish to fry. This goes to show you, though, in many cases, it's all about style and no substance. Let's work hard on the style because we know that the substance may not live up to the style we're portraying. I think in most cases, that's what happens. When you have low-key things and then the team is going to be really good, I don't think you see this big push to get out. Now, but for Belichick, it's different. Belichick is just anti-anything Patriots because of how that ended, I guess. And I'm going to continue to say this because, hey, until the facts prove me otherwise, Bill Belichick has not been a good head coach in the NFL or in college since Tom Brady left. You could talk about everything they did, all the cheating. That happened too. You can't look at it one way and say, oh, he's got 6 rings and ignore all the things that happened that they were found guilty of doing. What has he won without Tom Brady? That's true, Paul. He's won Jordan. I now have one in lifelong affinity for the smell of strawberries. I wake up in night tremors, not because I may not be the head football coach at North Carolina, UNC Chapel Hill, but what happens if I lose Jordan? And then every time I smell a strawberry, hear the word strawberry, go to the grocery store and walk by the produce section, what do I do then when Jordan's no longer with me? I don't want any social media posts put up about me and Jordan. David says Bill's just worried about keeping his Pop-Tart away from May. Well, maybe so. That might be the case. We want to thank all of our wonderful sponsors. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST. Thanks to them. Travis Williams, Professional Door Incorporated, residential commercial garage doors up in Dublin, right across from New River Community College. Been in business for 38 years. Family owned and operated. Sponsor of our text line. They are terrific. The attorney, Ryan Pride in Ranford, our 701 West Main Street attorney here on the program. BDST fan question of the week. I got to come up with one today. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. Go see Charles Lee. I know many of you have already hit him up, so that's great. Thanks to Pulaski County Sports Entertainment, the presenting sponsor of this program. Jonathan Sweet. We're going to have more of his people on. Tim Miller, that great crew up there. Get you updated what's going on in the newsletter. Lots of great stuff. Family Fencing, Jason Green, sponsor of our studios here in Reiner. Thank you so much. FamilyFencingNRV.com. You name it, they've got it. Give them a call. 540-200-8294. Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic Clinic. His chat line over here just explodes every day. Thank you so much, Marco, for everything that you do. Go see Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. Since 1997, James Lawson. And give them a call, 540-381-8011. They've been manufacturing home parts, windows, doors, plumbing supplies, installation for that long. Speaking about businesses, how about that? You're in business 28 years, you're doing something right. And the NRV Super Bowl. Todd Jones, this bowling superstar of the week, 300 and a 299. That's 599, really, in 2 games? Congratulations, Todd. 540-382-5525. Go reserve your lane now. They're going to have Halloween Boogie Bowl. It's coming back. That's fun. I love to go bowling. I don't do it enough, and I'm not any good at it. But I don't know. I used to go all the time. You know, my mom was actually a really good bowler, and she was in a league. My mom could bring it at the bowling alley. So we would go. You remember? What was the name? Help me out, peeps. What was the name of the bowling alley right there on the cusp of Dublin and Pulaski? Was it Leisure Lanes? Something like that. There's a bowling alley up there, and that's where we used to go. Tebow says UNC is the only team that I know of that continues to hire worse coaches than Virginia Tech. Hoagie Bob, he won the International Sugar Daddy Award from Nestle's. Oh, there is that, Hoagie Bob. There is that. David Smith coming up, bottom of the hour. We'll review the NFL now that the week has ended. Week 5 is over. And then Mike Burnop in hour number 3. Joining us now on the program from the Boundary Corner podcast is that gentleman, and his name is Brian Siegler. Brian, how are you, man? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning, Rick?
Oh, not bad. Here on a Tuesday, motor on through the week. And, not great from Hokie Nation on Saturday is couldn't follow up the momentum of the surprise win down in Raleigh, could they, against Wake Forest?
It was a disappointing output, absolutely, across the board. And, when I looked at the box score at the end of the game, and I was like, so Wake barely broke 100 yards rushing, and we lost this game. I did not think that would be the way things played out. I thought if they beat us, it's because they were able to run the ball consistently and things like that. And really, we did pretty well overall in the rushing game. I think we had a couple gash plays there, here or there, but nothing too major. But for whatever reason, we couldn't do anything with the ducks that Robbie Ashford was throwing at us. Just taking advantage. There could have been 3 or 4 different potential interceptions that were not, and unfortunately, when we weren't in those positions, we were letting them kind of move up and down the field on us. And at the end of the day, we made too many mistakes on both sides of the ball to be able to take away a victory there. Yeah,
and as someone mentioned in chat earlier, it's not a lot of penalties. It's just they're stupid. They come at the worst time. The out of bounds hit made no sense whatsoever. I mean, things like that. And now they're playing a lot of new guys and so forth. But it happens. It's happening too often. It happened in the ODU game. It happened against Vandy. I mean, but not a lot. I think they had double penalties. Wake Forest did, but theirs were more within the game and just things they were able to recover from. Whereas Tech, seems like when it happens to Tech, the margin for victory is so slim, right? You can't have anything like that because they can't recover from it.
Yeah, the penalties were definitely a problem, and as you said, it seems like every time there's a penalty for Virginia Tech, it ends up having an impact on the final outcome.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about just the covering up the center on the field goal. That's a 6-point swing right there. So it's just little things. You got to do the little things right, and you have to do them right consistently. And we're at a point now where we're just not doing a lot of those little things right with the consistency that we need to win football games. And it's been kind of a hallmark of the Brent Pry era, right? Like when we look back at some of these teams, you look at them and you say, well, they just don't know how to win. They don't know how to win the close games. And, we're starting to, see that maybe that's just the roster that we built and kind of where we're at until we get some new blood in here, both, coaching wise and, once the season wraps and we start having some of that portal shuffle, get some guys in here that are ready to win and know what it takes to make the plays that matter in crunch time.
Well, the other thing that came out last Friday, the committee was named, the people that are on it, and they got one thing right. You and I have been talking about it. It made no sense to me ever that the GM was going to be hired before you hired the coach, and they've listened. The sources I have throughout college football, no head coach with options wanted to come in and have somebody already in place, so the head coach is going to be there to help bring in the GM. First of all, what were your thoughts on the committee and the makeup of that?
I thought it was an interesting kind of makeup there. You got some business focused folks, and you got football folks, and a little bit in the middle there. I thought it was an interesting makeup. I think it's a good mix of kind of understanding this is a business, but also at the end of the day, you've got to win football games. I think I would have liked to see maybe one or two more names on there that have actually done a hiring process before.
Agreed.
But I think the mix there is a good mix of folks that have been in on the BOV side in a business environment in general, and then also football guys, particularly Arians and Royal.
And help me understand, because everybody's asking me. This whole plan apparently to leave Witt in place. And Chris Coleman made a point that maybe it's just because there's nobody over there right now. I think you may have brought that up too a couple weeks ago. There's nobody there that they feel like can keep things running. But I haven't heard one customer, the fan, donors, that want this to remain. How is this going to work long term if he does stay another year, 2 years, and have nothing to do with football? It confounds me that this is the way they're going to go.
Yeah, and I having some conversations with some folks about that, and one of the things someone brought up to me was, is it a bad look to have Witt bring this plan to the BOV, go through the process of proving the money, go through the process of this vote, and then say, oh, by the way, you're out of here, we're bringing in somebody new to handle this? It's almost like it makes more sense to let him see this through. If it looks like within that plan, we're probably not long for the days of Witt Babcock, but it's more going to be, I think, something where he's stepping aside in the next year or two on his own terms versus being pushed out as a result of football related matters. But obviously in the coming years, we're looking at football really not being within his purview outside of what this next hire is, and that's more. It seems to be that's more of a. They have the only hiring power within the department, so that's kind of where the buck stops. But I'm hoping that the committee gives them a couple candidates where even they can't screw up what's coming down the pike here. It's like, hey, it's these two, and either of them are going to be fine. So you guys figure it out.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. It really is. And if it is that long of a tenure, a year or two, I just wonder how many people are going to just stop supporting. And I think that's what you run the risk of, because the customer has the final say, and the customers are the fans. Customers to a larger extent are the bigger donors. And I don't see a lot of people, like I say, going, yeah, this is a great idea, because this guy failed at his main job, and that was to keep football floating, and he could just take it to the next regime after Frank Beamer. It looked like it was going to be that way. It didn't work out, and then Brent probably never got off the ground. And a lot of people look at it as a reward now. He gets to stay and still make the same salary for failing at the main job he had, and that was to keep football relevant.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to see that as a little bit of a slap in the face, and I can understand that. But from my perspective, as long as once the hire is taking place and we get some other pieces in here, as long as Witt doesn't have a hand on the pulse of football, like that football is managing itself kind of from the top down there, that he can walk out in the next year or two, and I'm fine with that. But at the same time, I understand the perspective of fans, because under his watch, things deteriorated much further than they were when he took the role over.
Right.
He took the role over. Obviously, we were inching towards the end of the Frank Beamer era at that point. We didn't have the structure in place to really, I think, transition in a way that we wanted to, because for so long, Frank had done it on a shoestring and was able to win 10 games despite everything else. But as long as, when I'm thinking about Whit Babcock, as long as he doesn't have any hands over what we're doing from a football standpoint, I'm okay with moving forward at this point. But I understand the perspective of folks that feel otherwise.
So the football coach is going to answer to whom? The president? That's the thing. It's not going to be the GM. He's not going to answer to the GM. It's not set up that way in college.
Yeah, I think they're going to. I would like to see a AD specifically for football, basically an associate AD that you answer directly to. That person reports to Sands directly versus up through Whit Babcock.
Yeah, you know what? You're probably right. But here, see, look at what they're doing. They've already had to hire a committee. Then potentially they have to add that position just to make up for the fact that you're going to leave a guy that instead of just bringing in somebody brand new to oversee. It makes no sense. And hearing you say it makes even less sense. But you're probably right. That's probably what's going to happen.
That's a Virginia Tech solution. Most people would just get rid of one guy and replace them with someone else that can do the job better. But I think we're going to take the roundabout trip here.
The roundabout trip is good. All right, what do you think this weekend? I mean, you guys are going to break it down. Georgia Tech's well rested. Now, they didn't look good in their last game. It was the same foe, Wake Forest, who actually won the game. They got hosed on that offside call. I'm sorry, they did. One call did decide that game. So Georgia Tech showed some cracks in that game, but they're coming home. But as Chris Coleman said yesterday, this Tech's going against a ranked team, right? Maybe they go down there and, don't get their best effort. Who knows?
I mean, I think you'll see as focused of an effort from Virginia Tech as you're going to get.
Yeah.
I'm still concerned about what we're going to do at quarterback, because I mean, when we watch Kyron Jones play, he is not playing with any degree of confidence right now. Still making some boneheaded mistakes from time to time, and I think once he makes those mistakes, he's often not taking any calculated risk with the football. After that, he gets kind of very check down heavy and missing some targets just because trying to play it safe with the football. And at this point, I'd like to see what some of the other quarterbacks can do, because I feel like we know who Kyron Drones is, and we know he's not getting us what we need in this offense. So why not, give Pop or Rangel a run there and see what you have. I think both of them have 2 years of eligibility left, so there's going to be some potential to maybe retain one or both of those depending on what happens with the next regime. So why not see what you have, so you at least know what you're working with and can make that type of decision, because it's a quarterback, so regardless, they're going to command some degree of NIL compensation to keep them in Virginia Tech, regardless of who the next head coach is.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be fascinating to see, and you guys will be talking about when's all the breakdowns start. When's the panel of 4 resume this week?
We are jumping on Wednesday night this week. Got a couple things going. Usually we're Tuesday or Wednesday, kind of depends. But we got some of us got a couple things going on tonight, so we're riding tomorrow night at 9, and audio that drops the next morning.
All right. Follow Boundary Corner. They do a terrific job. It's always entertaining, always a lot of fun. Kind of like people do with this show. I like to just turn you guys on and just have you on. You're just kind of like going. So it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. But Brian, thanks a lot, man. We'll see what happens Saturday, and we'll reconvene next week.
Absolutely, Rick. Appreciate the time.
All right, brother. Thank you, man. There you go. That's Brian Siegel from the Boundary Corner podcast. Go check it out. They do a great job. And when they all get together, it's a great conversation. But think about what Brian said there, and he's probably right. So, in other words, let's go over this again. When you're hired as an athletic director at a football school, that's what Virginia Tech is. There's no debating what it is in terms of athletic identity. They are a football school. Kentucky is a basketball school. You have to make sure the football program doesn't have the kind of decline this Tech program has suffered through the last 8 years. That's throughout the majority of Whit Babcock's tenure. He said it right, talking about Whit. Whit said it right when he called Justin Fuente the 5-star recruit that didn't develop and work out. He said that right when he had to let him go, when they brought in Brent Pry. For a lot of reasons, and a lot of reasons that Whit's responsible for, and other people over there, it didn't work out long term. The more I'm hearing about what happened over there, the less I put it on Justin Fuente. Seriously. Secondly, he just completely blew it with Brent Pry. There were a lot of questions at the time. It's not revisionist history. It didn't make a lot of sense, other than the connection that he had with Virginia Tech as a GA. So you make your second hire somebody who didn't have any head coaching experience and was a co-coordinator. It never made sense. So the second one is definitely on him. First one, he made the right hire at the time. It just didn't work for lots of reasons. Second one never should have been made. And this isn't retrospective. So now you're taken out of the process. So here comes a committee. Boom. How are they going to mesh? We don't know. There's no way of knowing. And what Brian said there, what if you do that, right? Coach comes in, he helps bring in the GM he's comfortable with, player personnel, handle the money, makes sense. It's the way it had to be. Is there going to be an athletic director for football? So you're going to hire a brand new position on top of the GM position you're hiring instead of hiring an AD to oversee it. What happens? Do you hire an AD for football and then you go out and let's say Whit decides to retire, which I think about that'll be how he goes out over there, in my opinion. I don't think anybody's ever going to let him go now. They would have already done it. If he wants to retire, he'll retire. So what are you going to do then? Are you going to go out and look for a new AD, but tell the new AD they have nothing to do with football? How's that going to – what kind of reaction do you think that's going to get from potential candidates? And we don't know that's the route they're going to go, but it is another theory you got to kind of kick around a little bit. Just like the whole, you weren't going to find a head coach with options who wanted to come in for a GM that somebody else hired. They finally realized that as well. If you end up hiring somebody in charge of football separately, how are you going to go out and find an AD? Or do you get rid of that position if you do hire it when you get ready to go out and hire an AD? These are all just theoretical questions that I don't know the answer to. But as Keith Jackson used to say, oh, it looks like they're stumbling and then bumbling, and, we'll see if they can cross the goal line. That's right. On the professional door text line, I got a couple of them. You can go back to Cincinnati coaches. Yeah, it didn't work there either. So I don't know. I don't know the answers. I know everybody's frustrated. I don't know the answers. We'll see. We'll see. But that's where we are. That's where we are. Mike Burnop comes up at 8 o'clock today. And we'll talk about the game, look ahead to Georgia Tech, and see what he thinks about the committee. I want to ask him about Bruce Arians. I've heard differing things. They had him listed on the committee, but Mike told us he wasn't going to be on the committee. He's advising. I don't know if that's changed, but we'll find out. We'll find out. In any event, joining us now on the program, he is our NFL correspondent. He is a Radford University Basketball Hall of Famer. His name is David Smith. David, good morning. How are you?
Hey, man. Good morning to you. How we doing today, bro?
Hey, we're hanging in there, man. We're hanging in there.
And before we get started, I should have worn my Radford gear today. It's Hall of Fame week, Rick.
It is.
And so we're excited in this household. Wifey gets her induction on Friday night, and to say she's pretty excited about it is an understatement. So we appreciate all the folks on the committee and acknowledging her great work. And so we're going to have a great time this weekend with the family. So it should be fun.
Yeah. Friday will be the ceremony. It's our greatest night in our athletic department. I don't think we have anything that comes close to what Hall of Fame induction night means, especially at a place like Radford. No doubt about it.
You guys do a fantastic job, all the folks involved, and we're excited about it, and she's super excited and super stoked. But for now, NFL, Rick, and so I'm going to get you a little pumped up this morning. How about?
Are we the lead story? Wait a minute.
Listen, and even prior to that, Rick, 3 of the 4 teams in your division don't win over the weekend. And then as I started to listen, I listened way too much to this stuff, and to also look back at your season, Rick. Look how close you guys are to being 5-0.
Yeah, don't go back to that Colts game. The NFL took that one from us.
Hey, listen, there's a lot of scrutiny going on right now, officiating in a lot of sports. It is. I'm not sure. I mean, that you talk about podcast topics. That's one right there. Where how do we get this to be buttoned up? I know the WNBA is struggling with it. I watch a lot of that. It is mayhem what's going on with them. Those ladies are trying to make plays and they're getting hit. And I mean, I'm sure the Eagles are sitting there going, don't forget about us with the pass interference late in the game. We're making chat about that too. But Rick, here we go though. Watch this. We're now at the quarter point of the season, technically, because there's 17 games.
Yeah.
So it would have been after 4, but some teams have had the bye. It's about as close as it gets. So the Bills are at the top of their division, but it's not by a lot. The Steelers, who had them at the top, we knew Tomlin was going to make them okay. The Colts are just, and the Jags are tied at the AFC South. And then there's you all in the Chargers are sitting right there at the top of the West. Of course, you knew it all along, Rick, that you all going to be there, right? You knew it all along. Yeah. And then you got the Eagles with the Commanders on the doorstep, and the Eagles have been anything but dominant so far. It's one of those teams that's got all this talent, can't figure it out. They're trying to satisfy everybody. It looks like, and they're there. And Detroit, after getting bludgeoned in game 1, and I didn't waver. The Packers handled their business, and then they came out on Thursday night, and they beat the Commanders, and they were 2-0, hadn't left Lambeau. All of a sudden, Detroit just decided to turn it back up, so they're leading the North. Then you got Tampa and the Niners leading those 2 respective divisions. And so at the quarter pole, we're in pretty good shape of what we thought was going to happen. But there's a few surprises in there. And so there's the NFL in a nutshell in terms of the division standings after this point. So we'll go ahead and get to the games now, whenever you're ready.
Well, you had the Broncos game leading it off. And I'll be honest, it was 17-3. They looked so inept offensively. I had it on, and I started doing stuff around the house. I'm like, well, I mean, this is typical. Sean Payton doesn't have this team ready to go. He doesn't know what he's doing. Bo Nix is worse than I thought. And then, they battle back. It's inexplicable. They outscore the Eagles in Philly with the long home winning streak, 18-0, and they come back and win that game. It just goes to show you in the NFL, this is the way it's designed. There's no lead. There's no comfort level at any point where you have a score. And you let a team like Denver, who has struggled mightily on the road under Sean Payton, come in there and do that in the fourth quarter. It was. I had to watch the highlights. I had to watch the highlights like 3 or 4 times to go, all right, did that really happen? I was just really?
And Rick, here's the thing. Whether the league can design certain things to want to happen, but other teams have got to be complicit in allowing it to happen. And if you're the Eagles, the Eagles are sitting there with the greatest offensive line in the sport, arguably.
No
depending
question.
on who you listen to. And you've got the running back that's rated the number 1 player in the sport by the players. Okay? So at worst, he's top 3. So we know he's a 2,000-yard rusher. They ran the ball 11 times.
I don't understand. Yeah.
In the game. They decided to throw the ball 38 times in the game. And listen, as much as we like Jalen Hurts, and we like him a lot, I don't think we'll ever confuse him with Manning or Brady or Marino.
It's not his game.
And he doesn't even want to be that. It's never what he said he was.
He's mad. Yeah.
He wants just wants to win. Just wants to win. But now you've got receivers chirping, and you got to figure it's factoring in. I mean, why are you throwing the ball 38 times, particularly when you're leading the game? Pound them, make them play. And here's the thing. Who leads the league in sacks over the last year or so? It's your Broncos. So let's drop back 38 times and let's have 6 sacks in the game. I'm thinking to myself, what are you doing, Philly? But let me tell you something. And I sent you the screenshot of Bo Nix's stats. Rick, you got yourself a guy that's pretty good. And he doesn't have to be the best of people. He's just got to be good for Sean Payton. It's like everybody could have had Drew Brees, right? But Sean Payton got a guy he thought he could make his own. Don't worry about him being one of the GOATs on Mount Rushmore. It's got to be perfect for Sean Payton because Sean Payton asks a lot of his quarterback. I mean, he's got to be gritty. He's got to be tough. He's got to be willing to just take those tongue lashings and the whole bit. And all he did in the fourth quarter was go 9 of 10 for over 120 yards in the game. And here's the thing. Sean Payton is gutsy as crap. We all remember the onside kick in the Super Bowl. Rick, when you're up, let's see, I guess he was up 1 in the game. No, he was up 2 and decides to go for 2, I believe it was.
Well, they were down. They scored the touchdown, made it 17-16.
16, and he goes.
He immediately, they showed him on the sideline, and he's going.
Goes for 2.
I'm like, what?
Because he knew that the field goal would make it a 4-point lead. He had enough confidence to know we're going to get the ball back, kick a field goal, and make them have to score a touchdown. And so that's saying a lot. Oh, Sean Payton, bro. But your boy Bo Nix, 242 yards, Rick, in the football game. But it's your defense. Your defense bowed their back and didn't allow the Eagles to get anything more. If the Eagles get 17 points in the football game, rush for 45 yards in the game, you guys are solid. You listen, I look back to the games, again, the Colts game that you just about had. And so, but you know what, though? You didn't let it hang over for you. And now you've got yourself in a situation where you're sitting at 3-2. You're going to London to play the 0-5 Jets. Don't find a banana peel there, please.
Oh, they will. Trust me.
No.
If anybody can do it, it's the Broncos over there. They've been terrible when they play over there.
Well, figure out a way to you can just bring your B game and get that one. You'll be fine. You would think. It's a 9:30 game. Get over there, get it done, and get out of there. Meanwhile, the Eagles also playing a New York team. They're trying to rebound after their first loss. They got to play the Giants on Thursday night. So they got a quick turnaround. And the Giants, again, who knows what they are? They're 1-4 with the new quarterback. That game's going to be on Amazon on Thursday. Congratulations to the Broncos, brother, sitting atop the AFC West this week.
Yeah, they left for London after the game. They flew directly from Philly
to
London to get ready. They said, why would we go back to Denver? Let's just go. Let's just
keep it going. Keep it going. Celebrate the whole way over and get yourself settled in. That's right. That's right.
Some tea and crumpets. All right.
Hello.
The Niners at overtime beat the Rams. Mac Jones has looked pretty good. I'm glad for him. I think he's gotten a lot of undue criticism. Look, nobody ever thought Mac Jones was going to come in and be a superstar, but he is what he is. And when he gets an opportunity, he makes the most of it. Those are the kind of feel-good stories you like.
Well, I think, Rick, when you think about Mac Jones, you know, he was at Alabama, surrounded by a lot of talent. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. It's not his fault that he won.
That's
not
right.
his fault that he had everything in place. But it went well early at New England, and then it faded quickly, and folks soured on him because that's what they do. And quarterback is the head of the snake. If things go bad, it's quarterback and or coach, and they're going to be, and that's why they get paid all the money. But give him credit. Came into that game. Of course, Kyle Shanahan, and you know I like him more than you. He can develop quarterback. Rick, he can develop quarterbacks. He can. Absolutely.
He can.
And of course, what's the most important position in the sport? Quarterback. Now, they swung and missed on Trey Lance. But here's the thing. They knew they had missed on him when they got him. And if Kyle Shanahan can't get him right, no one can. And as a matter of fact, have you seen Trey Lance? Have you seen him? No, you have not. So that tells you that if it can be fixed, he can fix him. If he can't be, Kyle Shanahan can't do it. No one can. Here's the thing, too, Rick. Mac Jones, along with Kendrick Bourne, who was also with the Patriots. Kendrick Bourne, 10 catches, 142 yards. I had to remember who he was. I did not remember.
Who's this guy?
I did not remember him with the Patriots. But you could tell right away that Mac Jones was very comfortable. And I think Shanahan wanted him from the jump, but he was drafted before he could get his hands on him. I think there was some symmetry in there. 342 yards. I believe Brock Purdy's toe is going to take a little longer to heal now that you've got a guy in place. You don't have to rush him back. And you're talking about having Kittle out and a number of other guys out. And it reminds you of what can happen if folks just come together. Meanwhile, the Rams, that's 2 hard losses for them. They lost this game. And again, Sean McVay, who we like a lot, probably one of the top 5 coaches in the game. Rick, with the score 26-23, all he had to do is kick a field goal to continue the overtime. Instead, he goes for it on 4th down. Did not make a great play call, and the game's over. Game's over. And so they lose that game 26-23. What does that mean? That game they lose like that, and then the other game they lost, as we remember, the Eagles blocked the kick and take it to the house. They're that close to being 5-0. So you talk about coulda, wouldas, and shouldas with you all. Same thing with the Eagles. And so, I mean, with the Rams, I should say. So, but Matthew Stafford, 389 yards. The back is fine, ladies and gentlemen. All that preseason chatter about his back not being great. Matthew Stafford is still a great thrower of the football. And the Rams are going to be heard from throughout this. But for the Niners to be 3-0 away from home, 4-1 overall. Meanwhile, the Rams are 3-2 and 2-1 at home. Of course, the Rams have no home field advantage, Rick, just like the Chargers. That place is just an open door for anybody who wants to get a ticket and go. I think, Rick, you and I on Sunday morning could get a ticket and get there. It's just
we could.
I mean, it's a palace,
100%.
But it's a palace for everybody. You couldn't get that way. You couldn't get in Mile High like that. I can tell you that.
It's everything wrong with the NFL is that stadium. It's a physical example that costs billions of dollars. It might be shiny. It's what they think people want the NFL to be, but it's completely hollowed out and soulless, just like the league.
Swing and a miss on that. The Chargers are San Diego's team. They just always will be on so many levels.
Yeah.
I mean, what was it? They used to play at the Murph, I think it was.
Yeah,
and so back
Stadium,
in the day in the whole bit. So meanwhile, the Niners, who are beat up and banged up without a starting quarterback and are now 4-1, and they will have a really good game, probably one of the best games of the week. They're playing the 4-1 Tampa Bay Bucks, who we'll talk about soon here too. That's a 4:25 game on Sunday. Meanwhile, the Rams are going to Baltimore. This is set up to be a really good game on paper about 5 weeks ago. They're going to play the 1-4 Ravens. The 1-4 Ravens. I think that was our Super Bowl pick, Rick. I believe we thought the Ravens were going to do it.
We missed that one.
Well, listen, it could be the greatest comeback story in the history of sports if we get it right. But they're getting ready to play the Rams, and that's not going to be pretty. Lamar will probably sit out. They've got a bye week, and they better hope that 2/3 of those injured guys come back. Otherwise, it could be getting late quick in Baltimore. Meanwhile, like I said, the Rams are 3-2, and they are looking up at the Niners, who are now at the top of that division.
Well, speaking of the Bucks, the NFL, who gets everything wrong in terms of new uniform style, other than the throwbacks, the Seahawks and the Bucks came into the league at the same time. People forget that the Bucks were part of the AFC West in that first year.
That's
before
exactly
they moved
right.
Conferences. So
Exactly right.
they put them together with their original unis. It was great.
It was fantastic.
I had the game on just because look at these uniforms.
The nostalgia, the creamsicle.
And they got it right. I mean, NFL, you can show that you can make good decisions. Here's one out of the 100. So going, but anyway, Baker Mayfield's become one of my favorite players to watch.
Yep.
I think his His personality is rubbing off on his team. You can see it, and the Bucs are legitimately good. And I've said this to you a lot. There's no coach. If I were a player, I think I'd want to play for him more than Todd Bowles. I just think he has a complete understanding of what players need, and that's what you need as a head coach. He never gets too high. He never gets too low. He lets guys be themselves. And I think that the Bucs play that way because their coach kind of gives that latitude. And they're good. They're legitimately good, Tampa Bay.
Well, unlike the Cardinals coach who decides he's going to ream the player who makes the mistake on the goal line.
Unbelievable.
Then has to have a mea culpa the next day. And now all of a sudden they're staring at the hardest schedule in the history of man the next 8 weeks. And that's assuming people will even trust you anymore after that. Meanwhile, Todd Bowles has probably felt like doing that about 1 million times and has chosen not to do it any time. And it's exactly why those players – and by the way, what do you ever hear about Tampa? Nothing.
Nothing. Not a word.
Is there a scandal? No. And listen, there was no one, and I didn't have a problem with Baker Mayfield doing all the commercials in Cleveland like others did. I had no problem with it because he wasn't doing them during this season. But the point is what have you heard from Tampa at all? Nothing. Although Baker Mayfield, he's been down, he's quietly done his thing. You don't even see an interview with him. But they're just 4-1, and Baker Mayfield has been a shining example of that. He's way underpaid for the deal he signed. And he's not complaining at all. And there's nobody complaining about getting the ball at all. But here's the deal with the game, Rick, that I heard someone say. Sam Darnold, 341 yards in the game. Baker Mayfield, 379 yards in the game. It's the first time that two quarterbacks in the game have thrown for 325-plus yards with 80% completion percentage ever in the history of the game.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy. And it's Baker Mayfield, who anyone could have had, and Sam Darnold, who anyone could have had.
The Vikings had him.
And by the way, how happy do you think Seattle is with taking Sam Darnold and letting Geno go to the Raiders? Pretty happy with that move, regardless of the outcome of this. The interesting part about this game, Rick, is these Ohio State wide receivers, whatever they're doing in Columbus, they're just putting out guys. I mean, you're talking about Emeka Egbuka, 7 for 163, and Jackson Smith and Jigba, 8 for 132. And we're not even talking about Marvin Harrison Jr., who's with the Cardinals, and he's solid, but he can't get going because that program's not working for him.
No.
But they just keep putting them out. They keep putting them out. And so, interestingly enough, this game was so back and forth. 53 second half points in the football game.
It was fun. It was fun.
If you like scoring, you had it right there. And unfortunately for Sam Darnold, a deflection late in the game as they're driving downfield to kick the winning field goal or touchdown, a deflected pass that the Bucs end up getting, and then they kick the game-winning field goal, and Seattle's kicking themselves now. Another coulda, woulda, shoulda been. They're sitting at 3-2 now. Easily could have been 4-1. These are the kind of things that will hover over you. These games, there's so little inventory, Rick. We talk about it. Every game matters. It can be, well, now we're on the road for the playoffs. We just missed. Meanwhile, Tampa is going to be hosting the Niners. It's a lot of great matchups coming up this weekend. 4-1 Bucs, 4-1 Niners, a 4:00 game on CBS 425. And Seattle at 3-2, they're going to play the all of a sudden 4-1 Jacksonville Jaguars. That's a 1:00 game on Fox on Sunday. So shout out to the throwbacks of the 1976 season. I remember it well when they came out. Jim Zorn and actually Steve Spurrier was with the Bucs before they got Doug Williams and the Selman, Leroy Selman was with them.
Nice.
Ricky Bell used to be there with them.
Ricky Bell. USC.
Remember all those cats, man. So congratulations to the throwback. And yes, the NFL got that right. They got
one right. They finally got a uniform thing right. Finally.
Yes, sir.
Finally. All right, and one more that ended a week last night. The Patriots, big statement. It's amazing what happens when you get a good head coach, and Mike Vrabel is that. Another guy that Tennessee just kind of, scapegoated a little bit. He kind of hung out there for a year or so, and Mike Vrabel get with Drake May, and you see the offensive people he's got around him. It looks like it's developing the way it's supposed to, and that was a big, big statement win last night. And congratulations to you and all Dolphin fans, because now the 72 Dolphins will have another season where they are the last undefeated team.
Pop that champagne.
You're welcome. We gave you some help too on Sunday.
Thank you, brother. Listen, we will take it any way we can get it. And here's the deal. That's the only reason we can pop champagne in Miami this year, unless it's the Hurricanes. Because, bro, we are leaking oil fast. Please stick a finger in the dike. But listen, Rick, you and I talked earlier this year about the Patriots, and we knew they were going to be better. And the thing we talked about was Mike Vrabel was going to be the Patriot way modernized. In other words, holding players accountable to a certain standard. But I saw the interview on Football Night in America when they talked about him. And Tony Dungy talked about the fact that people in the building are walking around now with a lot more comfort than they ever have. People who won Super Bowls are feeling like the Patriots are, we can walk around here without being so rigid. Now, again, 6 Super Bowls, people aren't going to apologize for those rings. I understand that. But I don't know that it has to be so rigid. Maybe it does. I don't know. But Mike Vrabel has instilled all the Patriots stuff without all the angst. And as a result, guys like Drake May are now feeling like they can be their best self, Rick. 273 yards. And there are people who are saying, and I may subscribe to this, that coming out of Carolina, he was going to be one of the best players in that draft, but it had to be a right fit. And Mike Vrabel is going to inspire you to be okay. He's involved in practice, Rick, like players. He's involved in it, and people gravitate to that. People want to play for him, and you can see that the old Patriot players are excited about having that. It's all of a sudden Belichick, but they're not going to take those statues or those trophies away. But having said all that, Rick, to be able to go into Buffalo on Sunday night against the 4-0 Buffalo Bills, who probably was a little hyped up too much because, Rick, they struggled against the Saints. They struggled against our Dolphins. They shouldn't have beat the Ravens the first night of the season. They were down 15 with 3 minutes to go in that game.
I know.
So it's not like they've been world beaters that you can see being dominant. In fact, Rick, the interesting part about the NFL this year is there's been no one who's been super dominant this year. But there's been a lot of pretty good, but there's been no one pretty dominant. I don't mind that so much. The Chiefs right now and the Eagles, they were in the Super Bowl last year. Does anybody right now feel like they're the best two teams in the league? No, they don't. People probably say we'll get to the hot four, and I can tell you who I think might be a surprise in that. Drake May at 273 yards. But here's the key. Stephon Diggs comes back home. He was so excited to come back to Buffalo. It's like he's a new guy again. But, Rick, no one's more petty than an athlete, man. They're so
especially
petty.
A receiver.
Oh, God, please let me go back home. Y'all didn't think I could be something. 10 for 146. And don't you know the first play of the game, New England threw the ball right to him. They were going to get him going right out the gate. And so I don't think Buffalo's going to fade anywhere. The AFC East is very kind and very, very supportive of Buffalo. They really like them to be at the top of that thing. Miami is not going to be pushing but so hard. I'm hoping for better. But Josh Allen, again, the key to this thing, Rick, is two things. One is we all need great quarterback play in any level, and we can't turn the football over. And they turned it over 3 times in the game. They lost the turnover battle. Josh Allen, 253 yards in the game. And even with that, it took some heroics by Drake May, including that incredible throw when he was being hogtied and making plays down the stretch. They kick the field goal. They win the game. The Patriots will now go play the 1-4 Saints at 1:00 on Sunday. Don't find a banana peel 2.0 there. Meanwhile, the Buffalo Bills, who's been on primetime 2 times this year, gets another primetime game. They're Monday night. By the way, Rick, 2 Monday night games this week, brother. It just makes you so happy. But they're 7-15 and 8, so you don't have to. It's not a 7 and a 10.
Yeah.
So you got that. So they will play the Falcons, who's coming off a bye week. That's a 7-15 Monday game. So there we go.
All right. So how does the hot four look? I'm curious now. We've had some movement. We've had some things that are kind of like, well, what do you think?
Rick, it's actually probably one of the toughest hot fours.
Yeah, how do you do that?
Listen, I almost hated having to do it. Last week we had Eagles, Bills, Colts, Lions, 1 through 4, and we had the top 2 lose this week. So I go, well, you know what? Do we just move up 3 and 4? The answer is yes. We're going to move up 3 and 4. But who's coming in at 4, making an appearance for the first time in the hot four? Jacksonville Jaguars, 4-1. Coming off of that incredible win last night, 31-28. The Trevor Lawrence experience, he's a roller coaster, man. He'll give and he'll take. Sometimes he'll make a great play and then he'll give 2 back. He wants you to not leave the game, Rick. He wants you to stick around. So we got the Jags at number 4. At number 3, Tampa Bay. Well-deserved, 4-1. Baker Mayfield, he's in the running for MVP right now. If I had to vote today, I probably would give it to him right now as much as anybody. I would not be bothered. They with the 38-35 win over Seattle. I got the Lions at number 2. You know I'm a Dan Campbell guy from Jump Street, even when it was in its infancy. They're at 4-1. People forgot all about that Packers game week 1. Again, that's, as we know, Rick, that's almost like an exhibition game for some teams to try to get right. And Green Bay hit them with the heavy. They beat the Bengals 37-24 on Sunday. And then the Colts. All right. Number 1, the Indianapolis Colts at 4-1 with the 40-6 thrashing of the Raiders, who all of a sudden can't get out of their own way. And that is the hot 4 for week number 5, brother.
Who we beat, by the way, and the NFL said no. Anyway.
Absolutely right.
Sorry.
Ooh. Come on, NFL. Help my boy out.
I can't get over the Colts game. All right. So how did we do on our picks? I've forgotten who all we had picked. I didn't remember our games.
We should have forgotten. It was not one of our finest moments. It was not.
Maybe that's why.
I was 1-4, and you were 2-3. The games that you had the Rams, we both had the Rams. You actually had the Vikings over the Browns and the Cowboys. I amazingly took the Jets and the Browns. I deserve to be 1-4. I don't know what I was thinking. I won't pick the Jets again. I don't care what happens. And we also both had the Seahawks. You had the Chiefs last night. I had the Jags. So you're at 7-8, and I'm 6-9 as we head into week number 6, where the Vikings and the Texans are on a bye. So it's a chance to make good, bro. Here we go. We got the Patriots at the Saints this week, Rick, in New Orleans, 1:00 on Sunday. Who do you like?
I'm going to go. I'm riding the New England train, man. I think Drake May is developing. I think they're going to go on the road. I think Vrabel's kind of guy that's not going to go, okay, we beat Buffalo, so what? If we lose to New Orleans, it doesn't matter. So let's go play. Let's see if they take the Patriot attitude on the road. I'm going to say they will.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Patriots. I'm enough of these Hail Marys. I'm going to stick with some guys who I think I know can win some games. I'll say that, and then I'll get down here and make
I know,
a mistake,
the Patriots will lose by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, and we'll get it screwed up again. That's right. The Seahawks are going to play the 3-2 Seahawks at the 4-1 Jags. That's a 1:00 Fox game on Sunday, Rick. This is going to be a good football game right here.
I like Jacksonville. I think we're seeing Trevor Lawrence finally, just a little late developing, finally living up to the hype a little bit. He got in that little skirmish with his coach. They're now drinking buddies again, if you will, and everything seems fine. Maybe they needed that. Isn't that weird?
Rick, I think, you've been on enough sidelines. You've covered sports long enough to know that if we had enough cameras on sidelines, you probably would see that
100%.
Almost all the time.
100%. Camera just caught it. Right.
I mean, to tell you, if you look at some of the Phil Simms, Bill Parcells conversations, and Phil talks about it, Phil says, I'm amazed that he didn't kill him. That kind of thing. So
Walsh and Joe Montana. Bill Walsh and Joe Montana fought all the time. All the time.
Well, the Steve Young situation with George Seifert when he took him out the game when the Eagles were killing him and he didn't want to come out the game. He was insufferable. So yeah,
it went after him.
They had to hold him back. It's crazy. That's exactly right. Speaking of the Niners, those 4-1 Niners at the 4-1 Bucks, probably the game of the weekend right there. That's going to be in Tampa, 4:25 CBS game. Who do you like?
I'm going with the Bucks. I'm going with Tampa Bay. Todd Bowles, Baker Mayfield. That might be that might be my favorite combination of personalities right now in the NFL, from coach to quarterback.
They're fantastic.
I think Bowles and Mayfield. That's and what Baker says about Todd Bowles, and then vice versa. I think they got something going on down there. I'm going Tampa,
and it's sustainable too. I mean, they've got pieces in it. You got a guy like Bucky Irvin running the football. You got Mike Evans, who's a Hall of Fame receiver. I mean, and then they've got the rookie wide receiver from Ohio State. They got pieces in place, and like I said, they're unbothered. They have great culture, and so it's a great place to play football. I'm going to take the Bucks as well. Now we got the Lions at the Chiefs. That's a Sunday night game. Am I right about that? Lions at Chiefs.
It's gotta be,
either way,
right?
wherever it is.
It's gotta be.
Well, let me look here and see. Yeah, that is Sunday night game. Yeah. Chiefs are 2-3. They're needing a win, Rick. I'm not trying to coerce you, but the Lions are 4-1, and the Chiefs are 2-3. Taylor Swift on the screen.
Give me another reason to turn the game off. I'm going to go with your Lions on the road.
The Fighting Dan Campbell.
I think you're right. They've won there before. They're going to win. If Chiefs don't have to win this game, they are a desperate team. I'm probably going to miss that one. I'm going to go with the Lions.
Well, the Lions also was a team that beat them after the Chiefs won the Super Bowl that year. They opened the season with them, and I think it was the Lions that beat them. That game, I think that was Mahomes threw an interception in that game. I am torn on this one. Can the Chiefs actually go 2-4? It's a home game on Sunday night. And I like the Lions a lot. My heart says Lions, but I'm going to roll the dice and say Chiefs. I'm going to say that they're going to try to get this thing squared away a little bit here. I'm going to go Chiefs. That may end up costing me. And so, and then the final one, the Chicago Bears were at the Commanders. Bears, I believe, are coming off of a bye week. Meanwhile, the Commanders are coming off of an impressive win over the Chargers in LA. And it wasn't close, Rick. They beat them every way, shape, or form. And the Chargers, after being 3-0, all of a sudden 3-2. That game is a Monday night game, the second Monday night game in D.C.
Well, I'm going with
the quarterbacks.
Washington. Yeah, Daniels is back, and they turned that game around pretty quickly in the second half. Washington, that was impressive. I'm going to go with them at home. Top two quarterbacks from a couple years ago. Yeah.
Yep, the top two in the draft. The one who you said was going to be less than the other one, and you've been a prophet on that one. So I'm going to stick with you. I'm going to go with the Commanders in that one too. So I'm going to go with the Commanders. So the only games where we had a difference is the Jags. You took the Jags, and I took the Seahawks, and I took the Chiefs, and you took the Lions. And that is our 5-game picks. We got to get these records right, man. We're on the losing side of this thing. 7,
I
8,
know.
6, and 9.
We're sub 500. We were coaches. We'd be on the hot seat right now.
And listen, on the old show, we used to, I promise you, we used to talk about not doing point spreads. Maybe we need a point spread. We need something.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, then we do a little better.
Yeah, well, we don't know what we don't know. So the NFL, man, it is filled with so many plot lines this year. Congrats to the teams. Congrats to the teams at the top, Rick, that we hadn't seen before. You're talking about teams like the Colts, teams like the Jags, teams that have hung in there through the draft, and now all of a sudden they're showing where the Lions, we can even give them credit for being there too. So meanwhile, some of the also Rams continue to be that way. The Jets can't get out of their own way. And the Dolphins are really mired in a muck right now. And it's not looking good in South Florida for my guys. But for today, we will pop champagne in honor of the 72 boys.
Exactly right. 72 Dolphins are secure once again. That's right. That's right. All right, my friend. I will see you on Friday, Hall of Fame induction night.
Can't wait, bro. Thanks for everything. We'll see you then.
All right, brother. Take care. There you go. Great stuff from our NFL correspondent, David Smith. Great stuff, as always. Yeah, he's right. We're both under 500 right now. Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line, and a lot of people are doing that, and even more people are hitting us up on the professional door text line, whatever might be on your mind. As we roll along here, heading into our final half hour together here on this Tuesday. Joining us now on the program, he's in his 43rd year as the analyst for Virginia Tech football. He is, again, joining us here, courtesy of Louise Baker, the Louise Baker team, Long and Foster Realtors. His name is Mike Burnop. Michael, how are you? Good morning, brother.
Good morning, Rick. I'm doing okay. How about you?
Yeah, hanging in there, man. And let's just get an overview on the game on Saturday. I know very disappointing for a number of reasons. Coming off the big win against NC State. Is it safe to say, Tech, they had 6 penalties. It wasn't a whole lot considering Wake had twice as many, but they just come at the worst times. It feels like the mistakes Tech are making are really having huge impacts on the game.
No, I mean, it was awful. I mean, almost every one of those penalties resulted in a first down, or they ended up getting a touchdown or a score off of it. So, yeah, they were just bad timing. I mean, you think about there was just the roughing the passer penalty, the late hit out of bounds, Donovan Green yapping in the end zone after you got the ball first and goal at the 4. I mean, it was the unsportsmanlike conduct. I mean, the pass interference. It was just, I don't know. Coach said he didn't think it was a lack of discipline. He said the guys were flying around, and sometimes there's that fine line where you can't stop in time or whatever. But he did say you got to play smarter, and that's one of those things. I mean, those are the little things that cost you. I mean, if you have one less of those penalties that doesn't lead to a score or extended drive, you may win the game or probably win the game. And, it's a tough lesson to learn. That's a game that you should win and needed to win. You're at home. You got a great crowd. It's homecoming.
Great crowd.
And,
great crowd.
Yeah. And you just can't get it done. It's frustrating and disappointing for sure. And, I think that score right before the half was a killer, when they came down there and he's sitting there and all of a sudden it's a 10-point game at the half because they scored whatever it was, 10 seconds left, and that was the result of a holding penalty that extended a drive. Yeah, so, I mean, there's little things like that just kill you.
Well, and it's so frustrating because you mentioned the crowd. They were so there ready to root them on their homecoming to go 3-3 and to keep the momentum going and try to continue to salvage this season. It looks so lost. And now you're back in that same mindset, right? It was just such a fleeting feeling. And now here comes the abyss. You're going on the road to Georgia Tech, and maybe they can circle the wagons again. Who knows? But then all of a sudden, here comes all these questions again. And you could tell Philip Montgomery's a little frustrated at the end of the game. He was trying, like you said, he was trying to grasp for something positive, but undisciplined, you just use it. That was a good word.
Yeah. I know he was frustrated, and that's a game they should have won. I mean, you look at it, and Robbie Ashford's not that good of a quarterback, and the guy goes and throws for 250 some yards. I mean, that can't happen.
Right.
And again, a lot of that's because of some guys are banged up, or you're playing a lot of young kids in the secondary because some other guys have either opted out or playing hurt or whatever. And so, yeah, it is frustrating. And he's got to regroup and get ready. Sometimes it seems like they play better on the road than they do at home.
Right.
So maybe that'll be the case this week because this is a golden opportunity. Georgia Tech, undefeated and sitting there off their open date. They know what happened in Blacksburg last year. They're going to have a little chip on their shoulder. But traditionally, they have not played great after open dates. So
That's right.
Could bode well for the Hokies. So, yeah, you never know. You get in that routine, and all of a sudden you get a week off. Maybe you slip a little bit. And I think that's why it's important for the Hokies to go down there. If you're going to get off to a good start, man, you better do it there because that's the chance to set the tone for the rest of the game. But again, you got to play two halves, just like always. And hopefully Terry and Stewart, we'll get an update today, see his status after he got banged up with the shoulder. I saw him yesterday. He said he wasn't feeling too bad, but he was going to get treatment. And so hopefully he'll be okay. Because, he had a pretty good game, 62 yards. I thought he ran the ball well. He had that big long run. But and again, I didn't think Kyron played very well. He only had 100 and some yards, 111 yards passing.
Yeah.
That's not good enough. It's not good enough. So, it seems like now that the MO is out there, they're going to blitz him every time they can. And when he gets flushed out of the pocket, he's not as effective. And so you got a makeshift offensive line. That was the fifth different starting group out of 6 games, And so teams are taking advantage of that. And so until you get healthy, I think the open date's going to come at a great time for the Hokies because they got some guys banged up.
Yeah.
They need to get well quick. But, it's been frustrating to say the least.
Mike Burnop joining us on the program. His appearance brought to you by Louise Baker. The Louise Baker team, Long and Foster Realtors, 540-320-0382, nrvhomes.com. And what you said, too, it's amazing. I mean, Mike, we're sitting here talking about Tech being 0-3 at home against FBS opponents. It's a mind-blowing stat, isn't it? Because they have all the support they're ever going to want from all the great fans that show up for each and every home game.
I know. That's I scratch my head every time I turn around thinking about how they used to have such a great home field advantage, and it's gone. I mean, they beat Wofford, right? That's it. And, you lose those other games. It's just can't explain it. I mean, it used to be a tough place to play, and it was like the House of Horrors or whatever. Now they've lost that edge at home for whatever reason. So hopefully, when you take this thing like they played at NC State, it was like a business trip. You go down there, nobody expected you to win.
Right.
Do the same thing for Georgia Tech. You got a chance to play the 13th ranked team in the country and kind of set the tone. And obviously Wake Forest should have beat Georgia Tech, right?
That's right.
So, you never know. I mean, obviously Haynes King is a handful, and they got some nice pieces in their puzzle, and Brent Keel haven't fired up. But, that's a game that you can go down there. If you play like you're supposed to for 4 quarters, you'll have a great chance to win it.
100%. Yeah, Wake beat them. The ACC blew that. They admitted it. It doesn't help anything, but they had them beat. So, yeah, and they're not like this. They know they're undefeated and they're 13, but and I like them. I love Haynes King, but they don't feel like they're 5-0. Does that make sense? They feel like they're just,
Well, they're lucky to beat Colorado probably in that opening game. They were down big in that game, and Haynes King has this remarkable rest of the game and kind of willed him, put him on his back and carried him home. And so he's a gamer. He's a lot like Diego Pavia. In that regard, he's he's a baller, and he's a dude, and he's going to do whatever it takes to get his team to win. And I know he was frustrated last year that he was banged up, and so and Georgia Tech lost the game. But we'll see what happens. It's a good opportunity. We'll see how they play, how they come out of the gate, how prepared they are, and hopefully they'll be playing a little smarter and more disciplined football.
Mike Burnop joining us on the program in his 43rd season in the football booth for Virginia Tech, thanks to Louise Baker, the Louise Baker team, Long and Foster. Well, a lot went on, and you told us a few weeks ago about Bruce Arians being involved in this, and they announced the committee last Friday. I was very glad to see that they're going to let the head coach, help with the GM as opposed to it being the other way around. So let me just get a clarification. Is Bruce on the committee, or is he still advising? I know they had him listed. You told me that he'd be willing to help as an advisor. How is his role exactly going to center around this?
He is on the committee of 8 people, and he is one of those that's going to have a big voice in it. He's got a lot of connections with a lot of people.
Sure.
Knows a lot of coaches and a lot of agents. And so, yes, they're going to – obviously, he's a big part of that committee with Eddie Royal, Bud Foster, and Jay Pierce, a couple guys on the board, and then a few other people in the business world. So, yeah, it's a good committee. He's a big part of that, and I'm sure they're going to rely heavily on his advice. I think they were supposed to meet sometime this week by Zoom, I suspect, and try to get a handle, make sure everybody's on the same page. But, we kind of clarified it in his podcast that, and it's like Bruce said, those two guys got to be able to work together, the head coach and the GM. So to hire a GM first was not going to happen. That just wasn't going to work. Your pool of coaches is going to get shrunk in half. If you got a guy out there you hire and nobody knows him, the coach doesn't know him, he's not going to work with that guy. So, yeah, those two guys got to be able to work hand in hand. And I know Bruce has got tons of connections, and so that'll be a big help.
Yeah, I think it's great that you have people, the football people involved still have passion. They want this program to get turned back around and be what it's supposed to be. And that's I hope that they lean more on those folks that you just mentioned as opposed to the people who were just kind of, I know why they had to do it, but still I hope that Bruce and I hope that Coach Foster and Eddie Royal all have like the main say in the long term because they know what it looks like. So.
Well, yeah. And, I'm sure agents are already reached out and quit, and there's all kinds of stuff happening behind the scenes, not with the coaches, but with the agents. And, the thing about it is, Rick, so many of these coaches have the same agent, right? I mean, it's not like there's a ton of them.
That's right.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's an attractive job. I still believe in all the jobs that are open now between the Arkansas, the UCLA. I mean, I don't think there's any comparison that this is not the best job out there. And now with the money that they're putting into the program, it's an attractive job. And I think they'll get a great pool of candidates to come in here, whether it's a sitting head coach or a coach that's been out of the business for a little bit or somebody that's an up-and-comer. I don't know. I mean, you got to have that great mix between somebody that's willing to get into the NIL world and deal with the portal and all that kind of stuff and not get frustrated. But, those two guys, again, have got to work hand in hand, the head coach and the general manager. But I think they'll get a great pool of candidates and try to narrow it down. It could be a little bit difficult, but I'm sure they'll come up with a good one.
Mike Burnop joining us on the program. And Mike and I both know Louise Baker very, very well. The Louise Baker team, Long and Foster Realtors. And Mike kept talking about the interest rates coming down, how it was going to help Louise. Sure enough, it happened. You were exactly right, my friend.
I bet she is staying busy. She's got the inventory. She's got the know-how. She's got the contacts, the people that do the financing and what the rates are and the closing costs and all that kind of stuff. Louise is the bomb. She knows everything about everybody in the real estate market. And, yeah, if you got any needs out there, she is the one to call for sure. Love Louise. She's a great Hokie and a great supporter. And I know she's going to be hopping here the rest of this year.
Yeah. Oh, I saw her post. They had like a huge August. She was thanking everybody. So that's not a surprise at all.
Yeah.
Mike, I've had a number of questions. In your opinion, do you think a new coach is going to completely just come in and do their own thing? It kind of feels like that's probably what needs to happen in terms of like current staff, or you think it's going to be the usual thing where they'll evaluate each guy or just you think it's going to be a total rebuild of the coaching staff?
It wouldn't shock me if it was. But again, if you bring in somebody from the outside world, for example, just using Coach Fu, Justin Fuente, as an example, he comes from Memphis and he doesn't have a lot of understanding about Virginia, the 757 area, the Richmond area. Northern Virginia. It depends on who comes in, and you want to keep that footprint of your recruiting base and your fan base, and so that could be a big part of it. Like, okay, well, we got some guys here that know this area, they know the recruits, they're good recruiters, they're good coaches, so yeah, they could possibly keep some of them. But then you got situations like when Buzz Williams came in basketball, and he cleaned house. He took everybody and brought them with him, and so. I mean, that was everybody, the secretaries on down, and so strength and conditioning coach and trainer and all that sort of stuff. So you just never know. It's one of those things that I'm sure they'll do their due process, and maybe they'll keep some, maybe they won't. It just depends on how comfortable they are with them and what kind of job they think they can do. Because if you're going to spend that kind of money on a head coach, you better get the rest of it right.
Well, that's right. That's right. And it appears as if with Witt staying, you think eventually they'll have a separate AD for football. How's that? What are you hearing on that front about how they?
I don't know.
Power structure may go.
Yeah, just listening to Witt and his conference, it's like he's here for now and he's here to stay. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but somebody obviously has got to be in the driver's seat for that because there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and certainly he has experience. How much input he has on the committee, I don't know. He kept saying, we got this 8-member committee that's going to do a lot of the decision making, but he's going to be an advisor to him. He has obviously a lot of experience and can provide great advice and try to get the guy up and running. So yeah, I'm not sure in that regard what it all means, but I think there's so many things still to be determined. But first things first, you got to get the coach, and obviously that's something that probably won't be announced till near the end of the year unless it's some guy that's just totally out of the business now. And who knows? I mean, maybe Monty will get on a streak here and win the rest of the games, and he'll be considered. He's a great guy, and he's done a fantastic job with what he's had to work with and the hand he's had to be dealt with. But you never know. I mean, it's there's going to be a really good pool out there because of the resources, the fan base, the facilities. I mean, you go through it. I mean, it's just like this is a really attractive job.
Well, I think exactly right. I mean, who would want the UCLA job? That place is a disaster. Arkansas, it's the SEC, so you're going to have so much scrutiny from day one by the time you get there. And with the money here in Blacksburg and how everybody wants the same thing, it just feels like it is by far. Some coach, they're not going to have any shortage of people who want that job. Let's just put it that way.
No, I think so. I mean, you look at the SEC, it's a gauntlet down there anyway for Arkansas. I mean, they got those Walmart and they got Tyson Foods out there. I don't know how much money they're given, but that could certainly help matters. But again, you're in the SEC, and that's going to be a gauntlet every week. And it's so hard to get to. The path to the playoff is much easier in the ACC right now than it is in the SEC, right? And then you look at UCLA out there, and I mean, what are they in the newspaper? What page are they on?
12th, 5th, like Boston College, like the 15th page. Yeah,
exactly. And then here they beat Penn State. I mean, how does that happen?
I don't know.
That was, 25-point favorites, and they lose that game. Oh my goodness, James Franklin could be on the hot seat. I mean, you just never know. I mean, but again, I just think the path to get to the playoff is a lot easier in the ACC. And you look at it now, everybody thought, well, this is the year Florida State. They're back. They beat Alabama, right? And Miami gets them. So Miami's great. UVA's having a great year. Louisville's was pretty good until they lose in overtime, right?
Right.
So you just never know. I just think the ACC is there for the taking. And you get the right coach in, back to Virginia Tech. Frank Beamer was on our pregame show the other day, and I was just going through that thing, looking through the 10-win seasons, 10 and 11-win seasons he had back in the day were phenomenal. I mean, it was happening every year for 10 years, and then whatever it was, 12 out of 14, I don't know. But he did a fantastic job, and I just think that could happen again if you get the right coach in here, the right pieces, because it's not like right now there's a dominant team in this league. I mean, every year it seems like it could be somebody different. What's happened at Clemson? I mean, you just never know, but I just think it's such an attractive job. They'll get a good pool of candidates, and then it's go time, man. Let's get this thing going.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're 100% right. I mean, Stanford and UCLA both, okay, good luck. Good luck whoever wants those jobs.
Yeah.
I think you're exactly right. It's all here. It's all here, but they've got to get it right, and it's got to be the right one. And I think it is a big comfort. The things I'm hearing the most is how glad people are Bruce Arians is involved. Like almost across the board, people are so excited about that. So that's great.
Just talking to Bruce, he's got so many contacts, and obviously when you win 3 Super Bowls, right, you get a little bit of knowledge. So I think,
you might know something.
Yeah, we may know something. A few people across his path through the years. So yeah, he did a great job in coaching, and knows a lot of people out there, and knows a lot of agents, and he knows a lot of general managers and head coaches and assistant coaches, and he's a great resource. There's no doubt about it. And again, you go back to the Hokie Nation and the way they support this team and show up and play. In a bad year like this year, just think about coming after that Old Dominion game and the crowd you had for Wofford. I mean, good Lord, that was incredible. And then you come out here again and you get the great crowd for Wake Forest, and don't play well, but they're still there. And they're going to be there Friday night for Cal, and Louisville coming up, and then Miami will be a hard ticket to get no matter what. Miami could come in undefeated.
They might. Just might do that. Well, there's no doubt about it, and we'll see how they perform this week in a game nobody's expecting them to win again, just like NC State. And like you said, Georgia Tech's not any guarantee for anything. So we'll see.
Yeah, and the Hokies got a good record in Atlanta. They play
well there, don't they?
Play well down at Bobby Dodd Stadium. So yeah, we'll see what happens. It's always fun to go down there and see what happens. It's one of the great when you're sitting in the stadium looking at that view of the city behind you and those tall buildings. That's a cool place.
Man, you've got hoops. You got media day coming up. Your double dip's about to start here soon.
Media day's today, actually. I went to practice yesterday. I tell you what, some of those kids they're talented. They can shoot the ball. I mean, Neo is as good as advertised, and Jalen Bedford, he's a kid that came out there and made some great shots yesterday. And Isaiah Pasha, the kid that came in from Delaware, he looked good. So they got a lot of options. It's point guard. And they got a chance to be really, really good. The coach kind of had a little semi-smile on his face. He said, he came over and said, yeah, we got a chance. And so, yeah, I think you do, Coach. And, the Hansberry kid that came in from West Virginia is a beast. And so, yeah, they got some nice pieces to the puzzle. And they were getting after it yesterday in practice. It was fun to watch.
That's good. That's good to hear. Well, Mike, listen, have a safe trip down to Atlanta. As always, thanks to Louise Baker, the Louise Baker team, Long and Foster Realtors, for helping Mike be part of this program. When are you guys heading to Hotlanta?
We're going to fly down there Friday late morning, get in about noon, and go right to the stadium, get everything all set up, and go somewhere and have a nice dinner and get ready to play at 3:30. So I love those 3:30 games, kind of ideal. Get you out there, and you don't have to get up too early, but crowd gets a chance to get lathered up a little bit. So yeah, it'll be fun. And I think they're taking a group of Hokies are going down. So
really good.
Yeah,
good.
We got a lot of alumni down there too, so I think it'll be a good Hokie crowd. They usually show up pretty well there in Atlanta.
Okay, well, good. Well, safe travels in your flight, and we'll see what we're talking about next week. Who knows? Maybe it's another road upset. Could be.
That'd be awesome. I'd love it for Monty and his staff. They worked their butt off to try to get this thing right, and just putting the pieces together with guys that are injured and, banged up, and debating the portal and redshirting and all that crap he's had to deal with. It's not been ideal, but he's done a heck of a job.
Right. He has. He really has. He has. All right. Well, listen, you guys stay safe, and we'll be listening, and we will talk to you again next week, Mike.
Sounds good, Rick. Thanks, Louise, and you guys take care. See you next week.
All right, brother. Stay safe, man. Be good. Here you go. Great stuff from Mike Burnop. Again, thanks to Louise Baker team, Long and Foster Realtors, 540-320-0382, nrvhomes.com. Thanks, Louise. Helped me out, my brother and I, tremendously, and I consider her part of our extended family. I really mean that. She's a special lady. Louise Baker's a special person. Got to meet her husband a few weeks ago, who recognized me from the show, so it was great. It was great. Great human beings. You want to be associated with Louise if you have property or home you're trying to sell and you want to find something, give her a call. Trust me. You cannot lose. You cannot lose if you go to Louise Baker and give her a call. Good stuff today. Thanks for everybody. Man, we had a full show today. Thanks to all of our guests, man. We had Jermaine Ferrell, Marvin Miami, Ryan Siegel, David Smith and Mike Burnop. That's a five pack on a Tuesday. So that was good stuff. Thank you, Morris. Yeah, Marva in Miami. Thank you. Yeah, Marva is great. Marva is someone I've known a long time. When the whole Big Dog thing started back in 2001, wow, that's a long time. I was the roving sports reporter at the station hired by Ron Walton, God rest his soul. And we would bounce around the stations. There were 4 different formats, and she would do the news. Every quarter hour, I would do the sports. And then the Big Dog thing developed with Pat Kelly. We started the Bear. The Bear was not the thing. It turned into the Bear with Pat Kelly. Everybody remembers, or you might remember Pat Kelly. Still arguably to this day, the most talented person I've ever worked with. Guy is just brilliant. And Marva was the news reporter, and she had a huge interest in sports. She was coming out of North Carolina, as a grad. And Tar Heel through and through. And she and I got to know each other, and she's great. And we became friends, and she was so good at what she did with the news, and she could talk about sports in a heartbeat, So when I started doing the show, she would jump on from time to time. And then when we got the second run of the show going back during COVID 2020, I called her up and said, "Would you like to do just a standing sports report?" She said, "Sure." And when I started this up, she was one of the first calls I made. So Marva and I are kind of joined at the hip whenever I'm on the air, as long as she still tolerates me. But yeah, Marva's great. Marva's great. She's, I know she's now dedicated, mom, wife, but she is very good in this field. She could jump right back into it in a heartbeat and have a ton of success if she wanted, but she's moved on. I appreciate that I'm able to talk to her and still have her. I really mean that. She's great. So thank you. So yeah, we had Jermaine, we had Marva, we had Brian Siegel, who's great. By the way, Boundary Corner, go watch the Boundary Corner podcast. Those guys do a great job. They do. And Brian is kind of the head of that snake, and he's put together a good crew. You should check them out. David Smith goes without saying. You can watch other people talk about the NFL. You're not going to find anybody any better than him. I don't care if you're talking about the bozos on TV or not. Tell me how much insight you get from David Smith and how much you get from people on there just trying to be whatever they are. Don't waste your time. Listen to David. He's great. And then, of course, Mike Burnop, 43 years. I've never done this show without Mike Burnop part of it. Never. That's how much I think of Mike. He knows football so well. He's just great. He's just terrific. So, which brings us to the last guest. This Mike Burnop fellow, is he new to the area? Yeah, how about that? Yeah, he's brand new to the area. 43 years. 43 years in the broadcast booth. Hokie Hall of Famer. And he gave us all the insight on Bruce Arians really, really early. Really, really early. I want to run through all of our sponsors one more time here before we head out. Thanks to Family Fencing. They sponsor our studios here in Reiner. For a free quote, 540-200-8294 at familyfencingnrv.com. Give Jason Green a call. They do a great job with any type of fencing. They will not leave a mess anywhere near your property. And they take great pride in what they do. Locally owned and operated. McClellan Chiropractic, Mark Hundley. Thank you, Marco. Go see him off of Peppersbury Road. He's sponsor of our chat room. Our text line is brought to you by Professional Door Incorporated, 540-391-0788. Travis Williams and Company, go see them. They are the best up there in Dublin, right across from New River Community College. Thanks to National Bank, member FDIC, Louise Baker. Thank you so much, Louise. Louise Baker and National Bank with Lara Ramdam. So I got confused there. I was going to mention Louise next, but thanks to National Bank, they're our exclusive banking partner, member FDIC. Been there for 35 years, never had a complaint. They've always taken care of me at National Bank. Ryan Pry, he is our attorney. Our BDST fan question of the week. Give me your final score of the Virginia Tech Georgia Tech game. Send me your point spread. Right now it's 14.5-15. That's what we're going to go with. That's the BDST fan question of the week. Can they circle the wagons? Do you think it's going to be close or not? Let's do that. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. And Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, the presenting sponsor of BDST. Thanks to Jonathan Sweet and Tim and all the folks there. And NRB Super Bowl, thanks to them for jumping on. We appreciate that. They've been in business for 25 years. Congratulations to Todd Jones. He's the bowling superstar of the week. And thanks to James Lawson, Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. Give them a call, 540-381-8011. So I have a text. I'm not going to reveal it right now, but I just received a little bit of a tease for tomorrow. I just received a text from a legitimate source in the coaching community telling me the first name they have legitimately heard that is tied into the Virginia Tech opening. This is one of the sources that told me that there's no way Tech would follow through and have a GM before the head coach. So I'm going to not reveal it today, but I just received a text just now telling me the first name that they have heard that has made contact, and it's a reciprocal response from Virginia Tech, the committee, and this coach. Stay tuned tomorrow for the reveal on Hump Day Wednesday. Got a lot going on tomorrow as well on the Wednesday edition, so we'll let you know how we fill in the gaps there. But that just happened. That just happened. Breaking news here on the program. Dun, 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 dun. I got to find breaking news music of some type and put back on here. Dun, dun, dun. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share our content. Every little bit helps. So, yeah, there you go as we head out here. Hey, Justin, good morning. But I just received a name. Interesting. I'm not sure how it's going to be received, but I'll bring it up tomorrow. And do me a favor, chat, and also in the text line. If I forget, just remind me. Yes, this is what you call a pure tease. This is like ending the season of Dallas. Who shot JR? And the only reason I'm going to talk about it is because this is a coaching source in the industry who told me that Tech would never follow through on hiring the GM first, and he was exactly right. And this is the first name that has been legitimately, he says, tied into this whole thing. There you go. That's exactly right, Morris. I'm just like a Tech holdout. You got to tune in the morning. Find out. And you're not going to get this anywhere else because this is coming from somebody who's a Power 4 coach. So you see all these sites. Hey, this guy's really going to be great. You should go to this. This guy's going to be the new head coach. Oh, no, I'm going to take this one as this is legitimate. Tomorrow morning, we'll share the text with you. Now, I'm not going to give the source. No, I don't do that. They're sources because you don't give them up. And if you want good information, if you want people you can trust, then this is the kind of thing that happens. Right? Thank you, Morris. Thanks for everybody's support. Yes, have a great Tuesday. I hope we made your Tuesday a little better. Lord knows you've made mine better. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't miss it. We'll open up the show with what the text said. We'll see you then, everybody.